Yes, morning all. How we doing? Oh, afternoon. Sorry, I was getting carried away on another stream. How are we all doing? Happy, was it happy Sunday? Where are we? Honestly, this fan base, we never learn. Sitting on streams talking about how great we are and how shit every other club is. We never learn. We never learn. We're not humble at all. I worry. I just worry about even the last 4 or 5 years hasn't made us sit back and go, just saying the animal the nice haircut. I just got back from a run an hour or so ago. I've not showered or anything. So I just feel it's like, even after the last 4 or 5 years of being an absolute mess, none of us go, let's take a breather and let's just see what happens. Straight away, Villa are shit, Newcastle are shit. We're going to finish above them. City are going to. It's like, whoa! Like, can we just relax? Like, can we just relax? Can we let the Zerbi build? Maybe. Can we stop worrying about Ange and Frank and Poch? And can we just let this guy build? Can we just let this year play out and worry about this transfer window for the moment, getting in some forwards? I just find it really difficult. As I've said, I find it really difficult on YouTube. I don't do it as much anymore because if you try and bring any level of rationale, what you get is you're negative. I've just watched Spurs finish 17th 2 years in a row. I'm keeping my powder dry. Keeping my powder dry. I've already seen a million people talking about Osimhen. What a load of shit. I don't believe it at all. We were told we weren't going to get Leao because of the salary demands. Osimhen will want big money. I don't believe it at all. I just don't believe it. For me, it's not news. It's not newsworthy unless I see anyone of any note talk about Spurs and Osimhen. Listen, great player. I think we all know he's a great player. We all know he's a great striker. But I can't. I've just got nothing to entertain it with. It just feels like it's another one of those. I don't know. It's just not a thing. Yeah, I just find it funny. I'm still, listen, guys. I have not changed my mind all summer. So far, brilliant signings in defence and in midfield. Right now, worried about the forward line. I will talk about the Gakpo links and the Savio links and the Rashford links in a minute. Don't worry, we will get there. I just feel like we all that's being thrown at me now is, but Man U went from 15th to 3rd. Like it automatically means that everyone will do that now. And for me, I've said this year, for me, I don't want to be the guy this year that goes, I think we're going to be 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. I want to build a club. I would love Spurs to build for the long term. Can we build for the long term for once and stop worrying about the individual season? You know, can't they finish 5th, then the next year we were crap. So and Ange finished 5th, then the next year we were crap. Doesn't mean anything. These 5th places in between shit doesn't mean anything to me. I want to build a proper team. I want to build something that's sustainable for years to come. Look, I don't think it's a surprise to any of you that I just think we're powder puff right now. I think we've got some really good midfielders. I'm looking forward to actually seeing Tonali and Fernandes play. I know they did for 45 minutes against MK Dons behind a closed doors game, but I'm really looking to see. I'm really looking to see those two in midfield. I'm really interested to see actually what the back four is going to be. I think a lot of people, we all guess. I have no idea. Is it going to be Robertson at the left back or a Dogie or Van der Ven? Who's going to be the centre halves? I think we know Porro will be the right back. But I'm still, I'm just not convinced. I watch Spurs going forward. I think we've got nothing. The wingers don't create. The striker never looks like, listen, we got strikers who are not capable of doing anything for themselves. And I don't know. I just find it funny. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about, by the way, someone mentioned Ferran Torres. I've not seen him linked with us at all. I can't imagine he'll join Tottenham. I think he's going to have much, much bigger suitors. So it leads us, doesn't it, to links such as Gakpo, Savio, Mamouche. These are, I think they're the three that are being talked about more than anything out there in the world. I don't know. How has it taken so long to get Savio? I don't know. Gakpo seems like a logical decision. I like Gakpo. I think he's a good player. People ask me if he's a needle mover. Well, from the front three that we've got now, I think I'd be a needle mover. But in all seriousness, I do think Gakpo is miles better than what we've got. I do think Savio is as well. But it's all about relationships and partnerships. It's all about, if you bring in those players, what is, for example, if Savio comes in on the left, who's your left side combination? Is it Robertson and Savio? Is it Van der Ven and Savio? I don't know. If you bring in Gakpo, is he going to the left wing? Is he going up front? I don't know. And that's why I've said, keep my powder dry. Let's see what they do in the forward areas. And for any of you that watch me every week, I know I don't do many shows now, but for any of you that watch me every week, you surely would agree that that's what I've been saying. Yes, it's good to do what we've done in midfield and in the back, but this forward line needs sorting out massively. Yeah, but he's played off the left. He's not played regularly. Listen, I think he's much better than anything we've got. I genuinely think this is the worst front 3-4-5 I've ever seen in my 40 years of supporting Tottenham. I'm really bored of watching Tell, Solanke, Richarlison. They don't do anything for me. But Gakpo's an interesting one, right? Because Gakpo, I don't think he's a striker or a left winger. He feels very much to me like he is a he's almost like a left forward that kind of floats into those spaces, like with link up. I don't know. Listen, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. Is it going to be Gakpo or Savio? Is it going to be Gakpo and Savio? I don't know. I don't know. And that's why I'm finding it really difficult when people go, where are we going to finish and who's going to... I don't know. All I know is that this current front 3-4-5, any of them other than Kudus, I just don't think are good enough to be at Tottenham Hotspur at all in any way, shape or form. I've said that for years. I've not changed my mind on that. And, you know, I think that it's difficult, right? In pre-season, people see a player do one thing in pre-season and go, oh, he's brilliant. Look at Star last year. Star. Last year, I was told this is his year. He's going to come in. But again, pre-season, just because you do well in pre-season doesn't mean you do well in the league. Just because you don't do well doesn't mean you won't do well in the league. It's, look, I don't know, right? And again, when we're looking at stats of players, just because a player scored X amount here doesn't mean that's the only number they're going to get here. It's like there's no nuance to it. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like there's no nuance. It's, Savio only got 2 goals in the he's shit. It's like, well, okay, was he in and out the team? Was he being played a lot? Was it the right system? I don't know. I'm just spitballing. And you could say that for a lot of footballers, right? We could say that for a lot of footballers. But I'll be honest, I'm quite bored of the summit of the transfer window now. I'm really bored of it. But I don't know. I don't know. I listen, as I said, I'm a fan of Savio. I watched the Man City game yesterday. He just glides past players, put some lovely deliveries into the box. I'm a fan. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not a fan of other left wingers. But the problem we've got, and I keep saying this, right? I keep saying this. Spurs are going into this process of only buying Premier League footballers. If you are only buying Premier League footballers, right, then you give yourselves a little pond to find players from. Other clubs are going to the massive ocean of the rest of the world. So when we're being linked with Gakpo, Savio, with Somerville before he went, the reason being is because we're not buying outside the Premier League. But I agree. See, this is where I'm at with Savio. I don't think he's a Pep Guardiola type winger. I do think he would be very good in a Zerbi type team. Now, I could be wrong. It's just a football opinion. I could be wrong. I think that just because he's not scored many at City doesn't mean he won't score many at Spurs. Like this notion that this happens here, it must happen here. It's not true. It's just not true. And Mark, this is what I mean, though. We don't seem to be looking at anyone outside the Premier League, do we? We don't seem to be looking at anyone outside the Premier League. And we are really, really, really limiting ourselves. So for me, if we're going to do that, then don't be surprised when we're limited to the number of players. But we are so bad. Would I prefer Marmoush or Gakpo as a 9? Marmoush, I mean, I think both of them in the team would be quite good. Here we go. We've got our first troll. Savva, you're talking nonsense. Okay. What have I said that's nonsense? I think so far I've just used facts. I think I've just used facts, haven't I? We don't, so far, everyone we signed for the Premier League. I haven't seen Spurs put in one bid from outside the Premier League. I don't know. Someone could tell me if I'm wrong. Have we had any bids for a club outside of the Premier League? Also, as well, a lot of these players are different types of players. So like Gakpo and Savio, very different footballers on that left wing, right? Gakpo's more your link-up guy. Savio's more your running, beating a fullback guy. So, okay, if you're not a troll, tell me what I said that was nonsense. I don't know. So, look, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know. I just know that we need to do something. Right? I just know that we need to do something, and fast, because we're going to be starting this season soon. Right? It's free. So it's 20 days till the season starts. Now, if you want any of these new signings to have any sort of pre-season, then they need to come in now. I think we'll bring in, by the way, when people have sensible questions, I will answer them. I think we will buy 2. I don't know. I'd love more. I'd love loads. I think we'll bring in 2. I'm hoping it's more. As I said, I don't want to see any of these current foot. The only one I rate is Kudus. He's the only one I rate out of our forwards. I don't rate any of the others. I feel like our standards have got so low. I think our standards have become so low that you just have to do one thing in pre-season and everyone goes mad. And I'll give you an example. Look at Luca Williams-Barnett. Really good, talented youngster. Let's leave him. Let's leave him to be a really talented youngster. Nope. The videos about him, the hype about him, he's got to be in the first team. It's like, whoa, just relax. Just relax. I thought Williams-Barnett looked very good against the 2 Australian teams. I thought yesterday against Chelsea, I thought he really struggled. He's 17. He's bound to. You look yesterday how easily he lost the ball every time he got it. That's not a criticism. He is 17 years of age. So I just feel that everything needs a bit of a chill pill, and let's see what they do in the last few weeks, in the last month of the window. But do I trust them? I don't know. I mean, you could look at Tonali and Fernandes and say, you know, dude, you're still not explaining. What is it that you don't understand that I'm saying? Let me see if I can simplify it for you. What is it that you're not understanding? You're saying you watch me every week. What have I actually said? I've said that so far, everyone that Spurs have signed is from the Premier League. That gives you a smaller pool to choose from. That's fact, right? I don't know why you think that that's not true, but I don't know. And you're right. This is why every preseason we do this. Every preseason, it's as though our fans forget that youngsters will come into the squad, right? Some of them are going to play well, some of them are not. Off the back of a few comments, off the back of a few games, people go, Coy's amazing. Hardy's now all the hype. Again, Hardy, I thought he's done really well in preseason. I think he's looked composed. But a few weeks before that, I was told it was Byfield. You know, I'm told it's now Donnelly and Moore and Luca Williams-Barnett and Rio Martin. It's like, can we just relax? Like, De Zerbi will choose which ones he sees as good enough, and then they'll go into the team. But our fans seem to want 8 or 9 youngsters in the Premier League squad, and it's just not realistic. And again with Williams-Barnett, you've got to remember his age, right? He's got to be. And again, when we're saying Hardy is better than Danso, how many minutes of football have you seen Hardy play, and against which opposition? Again, I'm not saying he won't be as a footballer, but again, this is what we do. We rush everything. Listen, Danso for me, 4th choice centre-back at Spurs, right? But what a bloody good job Danso did in those last 7 games under De Zerbi, him and Van der Ven. Danso was really good, right? And I think we're very quick to just turn around and go, this young kid is much better. Why don't we give Hardy a loan somewhere? Why don't we give Hardy a loan somewhere? Let him go and play 38, 46 games a season. Why don't we do that rather than this need to rush him onto the Spurs bench where he's not really going to get any minutes? You've got Senesi, Van Hecke, Van der Ven. He's not really going to get many minutes. So, you know, look, I just feel like everything is, after every preseason game now, all the videos I'm seeing from YouTube, it is so sensationalistic. It is so over the top. Like, you know, like, yeah, Rio Martin yesterday. Lovely, lovely run. Such a shame that didn't go in. Now it's cool. What a good play. He should be in our team. And so, can we? We're just doing it again. We're so over. We're very dramatic. Football fans are very dramatic. Look, I don't think Danso will be here for the long term, by the way. But right now, there's no rush this window to get rid of him. Like there's no people now. Suddenly, the 4th choice centre back is an issue. I don't think it's an issue, right? I don't think it's an issue at all. Right? You've got Senesi, Van Hecke, Van der Ven, and Danso, and you're playing 1 game a week. That's absolutely fine. Then, okay, so I don't want to debate. We always buy from abroad and always moan that we don't buy from improvement. We only buy from improvement, looking in the small pond. Are you dumb? I'll call this out. Are you fucking stupid? Listen to what I'm saying. I've never said you should only buy from the Premier League or only buy from abroad. My point is, our strategy right now only looks like we're buying from the Premier League. If that happens, then you have less options to pick from. How don't you get that? Honestly, I worry about humans in 2026. I really, really worry about humans in 2026. What I've said is a fact. If you only buy from 1 league, you've got less options. That's like me saying, just for that idiot there, that's like me saying to the wife, I'm going shopping today, but I'm only going to buy clothes from Marks and Spencer's. And then when I come back and go, oh, this is the only option they had. Why didn't you go anywhere else? Because I'm only shopping in Marks and Spencer's. Like, come on, use your brain. Use your brain. It's really not difficult to understand what I'm saying, right? If we would scout properly, right? if we would scout properly, then we could have players from all over. I'm just not a tell fat. I'm sorry. I just don't really rate him, my man. I'm sorry. Nothing against him. He seems like a good lad. He works hard. I just don't rate him. I'm sorry. I don't want him in my first 11. I've always been a big fan of Savio. It's not that deep. Look, I just find that we are, whoever has a good game in a pre-season game becomes flavour of the month. So Takai had a good game, didn't he, against, was it Auckland or Sydney, whoever we played first? And it was, oh, God, this Takai. Cool. Now I see what, next game he makes the mistake for the goal and it's, oh, he's shit. He's got, like, I say this every summer. We did this last year. Somebody, 4 or 5 players in the pre-season will get praised and praised and praised and praised. And then we don't remember we've done it. And then the next summer we do it again. Like somebody said, someone said to me yesterday, I can't think who it was, in one of my YouTube chat, on my chat, someone said, not really been impressed with Tonali in pre-season. I'm like, well, what do you need to be impressed with in pre-season for? We know how good he is. Do you mean Spurs have not played the same 11 once? He's not had the same midfield partner once. What are we doing here? It's pretty, like, what are we trying to force out here? Like, why? I don't know. I just find it funny. What? I don't even know what you're down to debate. You're the sort of person who wouldn't come on with their camera. So no, you're not coming on. There's nothing to debate. It was a fact. It was a fact. It was a fact. Listen, look, I like you lot, right? Like you lot, I would love every single youngster that comes through that Spurs Academy to be amazing. Who wouldn't? It's the dream, right? Top players, you haven't paid for them, you've developed them, brilliant. But the problem is now everyone seems to have a favourite every year. For the last 10, 20 years, as a Spurs fan, all I hear is, "Cool, this one. And it's like, oh my gosh, if they come through, they'll come through, right? Let's get a settled team and let them come through. But for me, someone like Hardy, I think he's done really well when he's come on. Just get him out on loan. How old is Hardy? Is he old enough to go on loan? Anyone? Is he 18 yet? If he's 18, get him out on loan. Give him a year. Go down to League One, Championship, whatever. Go and play a season at centre-half, stand out, and we can all go, brilliant. You're learning, you're playing, you're growing. But, I don't know, what's my mate saying now? Can you please stop the capital letters? That would be great. Dude, I just don't understand what you're exactly going against here. Like, you're making out like I've said we shouldn't buy anyone from the Premier League. I've not said that at all. I'm just saying there's a big world out there of footballers that we can buy from, and we're not, right? Yeah, listen, Money Mason, how you doing, bro? I don't even think it's just your Mal, right? I feel like we do this, when a Rooney comes along or a Michael Owen or a Steven Gerrard, and then everyone thinks that every young player is going to be that. And then you get the argument, which is the worst argument ever, which is, but Harry Kane. It's like, okay, cool, but not everyone's Harry Kane. But Gareth Bale, sure, not everyone's Gareth Bale, right? We use the anomalies to be the average. Big up to my man. How you doing, bro? Long time no see. Savva, 100%. Not every player will make it as a starter. The important thing is to get young players out on loan. Competitive minute. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think the key thing here for me, mate, is this. Is players can come on in pre-season and do well in the pre-season environment. Lots of changes. No one's playing their full 11s. The pace isn't as much. All of these different things. It's a different game to being a first team starter in a Premier League game, right? It's a huge difference. And I just think we get a bit excited. I just think we get a little bit excited. So, you know, for example, as I said to you, I think Luca Williams-Barnett, for anyone, again, anyone who watches me will see that I've said regularly, Luca Williams-Barnett is the one I look at and go, I think if nurtured properly, this boy is talented, right? Talented, super talented, technically, just really talented. But you've got to nurture him properly. You've got to nurture him in the right environment, in the right settled team, in the right position. But at the age of 17, after a few preseason games, people don't want to let him grow. It's don't buy a number 10 because you'll block the pathway of Luca Williams-Barnett. And it's like, what are we doing? What are you doing? Big clubs don't act like that. Big clubs don't act like that. Big clubs buy top players, and if you have a brilliant youngster, they will come through. But we're trying to push too many as being great. How you doing, Danny?
I'm good, Sav. I'm really good. How are you, my friend?
I'm all right. Yeah. I only popped on for 10 minutes to Mark's show earlier. Ended up on there for an hour and a half.
Always the case, though, isn't it?
I know. But yeah, Danny, let's talk about some of this. Do you think that fans get too carried away with certain people's performances in pre-season, like mainly the kids?
Oh, 100%. For me, it's a good conversation, actually, because I don't think too many people have been having it lately. For me, I don't see pre-season as nothing more than just to gain fitness. I don't see it as, there's no real, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no real, I forgot the word now. It doesn't really show you truly where you are right now, if that makes sense, right? It's not a true representation of what we could expect for the season, because youngsters, it's a pre-season game. The pre-season is pre-season for a reason. They're there to show you to really get the fitness levels up of the players, and we can never really start to see what these players are capable of until we actually start getting into competitive football matches. And the problem we have is that a lot of our players are actual first team players, other than Tell, Kinski, Tonali. The rest of them haven't played. They haven't played. Solanke and Richarlison, okay. Solanke just doesn't look fit anyway. But out of the players in our first 11, or who you'd expect to be the first 11 when we play our first game of the season, they haven't played. So so we can't even tell where we are right now in terms of, and that's the scary thing. I think the most scariest thing right now is that we can't actually have a barometer of where what we could do this season, because I know people.
We've seen a pre-season without Kudus, Maddison, Tonali, Fernandes all playing together, right? We've seen a pre-season where there's no Porro. Van Hecker's played 45 minutes. Senesi's not kicked the ball, right? Yeah.
Not just that, Sam, as well. We got I've some of the kids that I've seen. I'm not a massive follower of the youth. I mean, I never even knew who this Tingy was. We've got someone called Tingy in our team.
Oh yeah, Tingy,
Tingy, whatever his name is. Go on.
Just quick, Clay. I feel like people aren't listening to that point I'm making. I've not said don't have Luca Williams-Barnett in your squad. That's not what I said. What I said was, it's when the fans are saying, don't buy a number 10, for example, because it will block the pathway. Arsenal will have Bauman in and around the squad. But Arsenal still have loads. Arsenal have got Madueke and Saka on the right, Eze and Odegaard in the middle, Martinelli and Solis on the left, right? So they bought all of these quality footballers, but they're still introducing Bauman. I've not once said, Clay, don't let Williams-Barnett be in the first team squad. I said, one, let's nurture him, make sure he's ready. And two, you don't just stop buying players because you've got a 17-year-old who could be great. By the way, Rio has gone into that Liverpool team and he's bloody brilliant, right? He's bloody good. So
good talent.
If you're that level, and I feel like this Danny, you know I get frustrated by it because I don't
know.
think people actually listen. They hear one thing, and for me, like if you look at that Hardy, Dan, right? I think Hardy, when I've seen him come on, he looks very composed, looks like a good young centre-back. But I'm also aware that we've watched him not in competitive games, not really up against any centre forwards, right? We've not watched him in that environment.
No.
Let's see that before we all start going, get rid of Danso and bring, it's like, can we, let's just, I'm not saying don't, but there's no rush to do it, right? He's 18. There's no rush, Danny. Just don't.
No, I mean, to be fair, so I will be fair. I will be honest. Yesterday, I was saying get rid of Danso, bring in Hardy. I did do the overreaction, right? But like realistically, Danso he's a competent defender in the Premier League, right? And he will have his uses. And like you said, Hardy has looked very good on the ball, but again, it is pre-season. And how many times have we seen players in pre-season play so well and we're like, people start getting excited, and then as soon as the competitive nature of the Premier League comes in, they're like a ghost of what they showed in pre-season, right? I'll give you one example, Savva. Pat Matasar last season, right? Great. In pre-season, he was so good. He looked like he was going to be a top midfielder in pre-season, and then as soon as the Premier League came, it was all right for a first little bit, and then again, the usual of him. He just tails off and is nowhere to be seen. And that's the problem. I think people just want to have this hope that the young players are going to be having a breakthrough. But the problem is, no one can ever really give you a true value of where the players are at until you're seeing them in that nature when the pressure is on, right?
And Danny, if you look yesterday, right? Again, by the way, I'm not knocking Luca Williams-Barnett. He's a 17-year-old kid that people have put on a pedestal. If you looked yesterday, he was not effective in any way, shape, or form, Williams-Barnett. And notice that the level of opposition was Chelsea and not Sydney and Auckland. Right?
Yeah.
And this is the difference, right? Listen, I think Luke Williams-Barnett is super talented. You can see he's super talented. But how many kids down the years, not Spurs, everywhere, as there been, that are super talented, but don't make it? Now, I'm not saying Williams-Barnett won't make it. I think he's got all the tools to make it. But every pre-season we seem to do this. Couple of youth players play well, and we've got videos coming out left, right, and centre that these boys are amazing. They've got to be playing. Then we're having a go at Enoch because we don't buy better footballers. Then we're saying our model was wrong for buying youth players, but we want to sell them and bring through our. I feel like I've got to the stage where I don't really know what Spurs fans seem to want.
Savva, Spurs fans don't know what they want. They don't know what they want. That's a problem.
This youth conversation in the last sort of 3 to 6 months seems to be this be all and end all conversation for me. Like I care about the first team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I care about the first team.
Savva, I'm the same. What I want now is I want Spurs to finally act like a big club, right? Because they're starting to show it. Regardless, look, we need to see how the window finishes, but they are showing signs that they're changing their methodology, right? In terms of how they practice, in terms of their transfers, their incomings, their outgoings, selling players when their value is high, when we should sell them to use that money to reinvest into the first team. And what I want to see Tottenham do is have the Chelsea model, right? You have the academy to build the youngsters in order to sell them for fees to reinvest into the first team, right? And then once you have a first team that's like really solid and it's what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it's not in turmoil basically, right? Then you can then maybe pick 1 or 2 youngsters to throw into that squad, 2 or 3 players at max, and then see what they can do. But you have to have a team that's not in turmoil and a team that's like stable, right? It needs to have a stable environment. Tottenham has not been a stable environment.
Arsenal can bring Dalman on because they're winning every week and they're winning the league. Do you know what I mean? Like
And look at the players. Look at the players he plays with, Sav. He's got the Premier League winning team around him.
I completely agree. I just think, I mean, Danny, let me bring you in here. So, like, for example, like last season, what I heard from everybody was that Byfield is meant to be the next Ledley King, right? As a young defender.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, a couple of sub appearances from Hardy, and Hardy's the, and I just think, like, why can't we ever just watch them and go, there's one to watch out for the future? Why do we have to rush them and suddenly make them first team starters, Dan, overnight? Like, it's just madness.
It's one thing I can't disagree on in any means or manner. I mean, I think everyone knows my attitude with the youth now. Use them for what they're there for, cannon fodder. Do what Chelsea do what other big clubs do. There's a 0.whatever% it is that the player actually makes it. Loan them out what you can, whether you get 2 million, 5 million, 10 million for the odd one. Get rid of them unless you spot someone special there. That's the job of the youth training coach, basically, to spot someone special. And then just keep putting them out, get the money in to put towards the team we've got. And I don't know what it is at Spurs. I watch other channels and I really don't see this debate at all. I don't know.
Me neither.
It's almost like what phrase do I? It's almost like a fetish that they want. It's got to be through the youth academy. They want to see youth players playing all the time. But then they'll go and complain about ENIC, and this is quite a few people, that we don't act like a big club. We want big players. We want players that can do it now. We should be this big, massive club. We want to win things. I want to win cups. I want to challenge for leagues. I want to be in Champions Leagues. Why aren't we buying massive players? Hang on a minute. Why is that youth player not getting in that first team? He should at least have games in that. He deserves a chance because someone's had 5 bloody good games. He deserves this. He deserves that. Well, hang on a minute. What the hell do you actually want? Do you want this big, massive winning club that we're supposedly could be, which I think we can be, or do you want this Brighton club basically that looks good but just keeps bringing in the youth team and whatever so it looks nice and happy? For me, it's just sentimentality is sentimental, that for some reason a lot of Spurs supporters just wants this youth team to come through because it looks good. I don't know. Does it look good? I don't see big teams run like that.
No, but again, you know, see, Clay, you I mean, straight away, if you look, I mean, look at that last sentence. You think he's a better option than Conor Gallagher, who has captained Chelsea, played for Atletico Madrid, and played for England.
Oh, no chance.
And this is what I mean. This is how I'll call it out. I've got nothing against Clay, by the way. I'm just talking about the opinion. This is how silly we go. I wasn't expecting Williams Barnett to do anything when he came on. What I'm talking about is every time he got the ball yesterday, the ball was taken off him like candy from a baby because he wasn't playing against Sydney or Auckland. He was playing against Chelsea, right? He was playing against Chelsea, Premier League, like ready. I wasn't expecting anything from him. What I'm saying is some of these young players are going to be good in some games, not good in others because they're young, they're inconsistent, they're not ready. But when you're telling me he's a better option than Gallagher, first and foremost, they are completely different footballers, Clay. Like, they are not the same style of footballer at all. Second of all, show me a Premier League manager anywhere that was right now would put Luca Williams Barnett above Conor Gallagher. This is the manager that Poch made captain and loved him. Thomas Frank wanted him. Unai Emery wanted to sign him. Simeone signed him. Roberto De Zerbi has said when you play with Gallagher, it's like playing with 12 men. And you got fans out here going, I think he's a better option than Gallagher. This is where sorry, guys, I know it's all opinions, but we've seen about an hour of football from a 17-year-old and look at how we go immediately, right? We go from, that's like watching, let me give you an analogy, guys. That's like watching a movie tonight, right? Dan, you and Beth watch a movie tonight and you see some young actor who puts in a really good performance. It's like going, he's better than Leonardo DiCaprio, him. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, he's just good, young and talented. He's just mental.
Like basically, like watching Game of Thrones and saying how good the boy who acted Joffrey literally acted the character perfect. Yeah. No ifs or buts. But now can he go into a £500 million film and do that, basically. So I get where you're coming from. The other question I've got with it is, obviously word does get around. I mean, some people think that players don't hear what goes on here or goes on social media, whatever. I think they should be banned from social media for their own good, basically. But word obviously gets around the world one way or another. It's very easy to do it these ways. Do you think that we actually damage some of our youth who might actually stand a very chance of becoming a very good player by literally the second that they have a good game, slamming it down on them like, yes, we've got the next Dembele, we've got the next Modric, we've got the next Ledley King, we've got the next Harry Kane. Word gets around the world easier than ever these days, one way or another. It's very hard to keep something quiet these days. Do you think some of that might be the extra pressure on them as well, that it gets back and all of a sudden, like another example I'll give, what was his face that we can't get now? The one that was 90 million that we can't get now. He's injured.
Krupi.
There's a prime example for me. Respectable season he had. Well done. 90 million. 19 years old. Is he going to have the mentality to be able to do that as a 19-year-old? And that's no insult to him or whatever. I mean, look what happens when a 19-year-old goes and wins 9 million on the lottery. He's now doing the rubbish again because he did not know how to use it at 19. Is he going to be able to handle a pressure move like that? Because you go and move for 90 million, whether you're 16 or whether you're 40, you are expected to hit that ground charging at full pace. That's extra pressure on it. So do you think we do that with our youth academy a lot?
Like, say, where is this Gallagher hate coming? Like, where does this hate come from? Like, this bloke works his absolute socks off for Tottenham in every game. And if you actually notice, when he was taken off yesterday, notice how we stopped pressing because we didn't have. I know we went down to 10 men, so we had to do something. But this, I don't get this. I don't think a lot of people seem to understand what Conor Gallagher's function is as a footballer. For me, I thought he was really instrumental to us staying up as well. Him and Bentancur in that midfield. I thought when they came in together with Paulinho, I thought, was really instrumental. But people need to know what he is as a player, Danny. Like, I just feel like that he's not the world's best. He's not the world's worst. Why does every manager want to buy him?
I think he's a good player. I'm not saying he's an excellent player, but I think he's an excellent player to have in the squad.
Agreed.
That's not saying he's an excellent player, but to have a choice of Gallagher for me is one of those players that you will notice more of when he's not on the pitch. You'll notice Gallagher more if he's not on the pitch than when he's on the pitch, basically, for the dirty work he does. He does all the
not just
running around,
that,
does the dirty work and that. And people don't look at that.
Do you know what as well, Dan? He actually is. If people actually watch him, right, he's not a bad passer on the ball, and he's pretty decent at crossing as well, right? He has got a bit of everything. He's not like an elite midfielder, but he's a very good midfielder, and he's the exact type of personnel you want in the squad. Like, everyone's talking about building a squad, right? But you have to start somewhere. So for now, Gallagher, maybe in 3 years' time, like if we're doing hypotheticals, right? In 3 years' time, if we're challenging for the league, right? Maybe then Gallagher might not be the level of player you need. You need someone better, right? Right. But for now, he's exactly what we need. And I think that's where, again, Savva, do you know what it is? And Dan, it's this thing that I've been saying this for so long, right? Every Spurs fan is expecting to go from 0 to 100 in like in an instant, right? They expect that instantaneous success, right? But forget that all these teams that have won big trophies in the last 10 years in England, whether that's European or domestic, right? They have built squads over 4 or 5 years, and then they started winning, right? And look at Arsenal. It took them, 7 years nearly under Arteta to win the title, right? Liverpool, 5 or 6 years to win the title under his first title, right? So, and Pep, I think did it in his second season or third season, I can't remember. But the fact is that you need to build a team, right? And to build a team, sometimes you can't get a certain player that you dream of or you really want and it might take a bit longer to get the player, which is why look at Liverpool and Van Dijk, right? They couldn't get him in the summer window because the Southampton didn't want to sell him, right? But eventually in the January window he went, right? And it's like, so sometimes it takes time, and we can't go from a team that finished 17th to winning the title in one season. If we do, it's unbelievable. But
Danny, why aren't we understanding though that if you want to build a squad is made up of lots of different characteristics. Not
100%.
not every footballer is going to be your technical ball playing midfielder, right? You've got to have that in your team, but not everyone is.
Yeah, definitely.
And when I look I look at him and I go, that guy starts the press for a start, right? But again, that goes undetected because people aren't watching that. He starts the press. He's the one. You watched yesterday, the beginning game against Chelsea. He's telling the two wide men, come and press with me, right?
Yeah.
As soon as Gallagher went off, the press went. Now, again, as I said, I know we went down to 10 men, but the press went. And when your press goes, what happens? The other teams start having all the football, don't they? The other teams start coming forward. They're on the halfway line. They've got the ball because no one's pressing them. I don't think Gallagher is going to start every game, by the way. But if fans are judging him off playing in the number 10, please do some research.
Do you think Gallagher is a different type? I mean, centre mid, yeah, he can cover a 10, he can cover a DM. But do you think Gallagher is a different type of central midfielder to Tonali and Fernandes?
Massively.
Yeah.
Right. So the point I'm going to make here is surely there's going to be certain games where Gallagher is actually going to be more useful than Fernandes or maybe even Tonali. I'd say more Fernandes because I'd say Tonali is a very, very universal player. Watch him if we play him the right way again. And there's going to be certain games where you'll play a certain player because he can do more for that game, even if he's not as good as that player in particular, but what he can do, he's better at it as such. And there's certain games where you need to, what's the phrase? Where you need to, what I always said, you need to adapt a little bit in certain games because every team you're playing has got a different star player somewhere. Maybe that one's got a left or a right. So this game, we're going to have to double up on that side more than that side compared to the last game. So isn't it surely that Gallagher is going to be maybe useful against certain teams, whereas Fernandes and Tonali are going to be more useful than others? And maybe even certain other games that Benton Core is going to be more useful than either.
Exactly.
In these games where you play the better football teams, right, that dominate the football, are you telling me any manager out there is not going to want Conor Gallagher in there, breaking that up and putting in that fight and hustling? It's... what I find funny is it's not even that I think, oh my God, Conor Gallagher's amazing. But if you're telling me you're going to have 5 centre mids, do I want one to be a Conor Gallagher personality, attitude, winning mentality? And Ash summed it up in the chat. He said he's probably got one of the best engines in world football. The boy don't stop running. And it's, I just feel like it's a no-brainer. But like this guy, so I've got, me, I like a comment. This guy, he's, the least I expect is if you have a virtually open goal, you can hit the target. What? So because in that game he missed a couple of chances. Like what are we doing here? Who doesn't miss? What are we?
But also again, go on, Dan. Go on, mate.
Okay. The other thing is now and I've heard other people say this before and everything and that, but I've heard other people sort of go back on it as well. If I'm building my midfield and I've basically got my midfield of 4 or 5 players there as my centre mids, I want them all to be able to play a certain way, but I want them all to have a capability of playing a different way to the man next to them, basically. That maybe that player's significantly better at something than that player or that player or that player. That player might be more universal. That player's different in this way. Because then it gives me the option, like having a winger as well. A winger that plays exactly the same way as his next man, as his other winger. Right, I need to change this game. I've just brought on another player who plays exactly the same way as that player. Okay, he might do better in the game, but it doesn't mean I can change my game. Now, if I've got a winger or a midfielder that can play a very different style of football to what the other one can play, I can adapt my game better in the middle of a game because it's not going to plan as such. Whereas if I've only got players who basically play exactly the same way as everybody else, how can I adapt my game? How can I change my game except hoping that that player will come on and play better than the other one is at the moment? So I think having players in your team that, in the same position, but have advantages over other players, disadvantages to other players, but can play a different style of football, then gives me as a manager more option of, right, this game ain't going right. We're 1-0 down. I think we're going to go 2-0 down if we don't. Right, bang, bang. I'm going to change to a more pressing attitude. So now I definitely want, say, for instance, just an example, I want Gallagher on instead of Fernandez as such, because he can press better or whatever else. I want that right winger on because he can drill the ball across better than the other one, not just cut in and shoot as such. It gives me more options of how I can adapt in a game, surely.
Yeah, but people don't want that, mate. People don't want that. Like when I'm seeing people, like, first of all, comparing him to Williams Barnett, I don't get it. They're completely different footballers. Someone said, I take Lewis Skelly over it. Like, what's Lewis Skelly got to do? Like, I have no... Rudolph, we haven't bought Conor Gallagher to be our goal scorer. What are we doing here? There's no point running around and tackling if when you get the chance to hit the target, you don't. That is what's separate. Okay, cool. All right. So why did Declan Rice only score 4 goals last season?
Okay. Another thing with it.
What are we doing here? This is so weird.
Gallagher can play a 10 role. We know that, yeah? But he doesn't play the 10 role that a lot of people expect of a playmaking midfielder. There's not many that do that anymore. Maddison is one of the very few that does that. Right, if I want my 10 to be a bit of a lazy fella on the pitch, walk about, but as soon as he gets the ball, can do that good direct ball, that good cross, that magical moment pass, whatever, then I'm going to have Maddison on there. But if I want my number 10 to press harder forward, basically, to grab the ball for me and just give it the short ball to the person next to him to do the work, because I'm playing a different team as such, then I'm going to have Gallagher on the pitch instead of Maddison because I want to press that much harder. It's just an example of what players can do differently, depending how you want to play that game, depending how you've adapted to that team that you're playing. If you want to win that ball that much higher up the pitch in the middle, Maddison isn't your man. Gallagher can actually go and do that. But then if you want that bit of magic, you need Maddison there to sit back, wait till he actually gets the ball, and then do something with it. Again, it's different styles of play against different teams. It doesn't mean you've got to change your whole system. But again, this is one thing I said about other managers where they didn't adapt on a game-to-game basis. You haven't got to change your whole bloody system. But if you want to play a slightly different way, you need a player that can actually do that as such. And there's certain things in a 10 that Maddison, well, a lot of things that Maddison can do that Gallagher can't. But there's other things in a 10 that actually Gallagher can do significantly better than Maddison, depending how you want them to play. It gives
also,
me again.
Also, Dan, the other thing as well is that, like, I know we say this with every manager, but it is true. None of us know how the Zerbi's going to play, right? Like, we don't know what he's got in store for the style he wants to play. We have an idea or an assumption of what it's going to be, but we don't actually know how he's going to integrate all the players into a certain way of playing, because for all we know, he might start using Gallagher like he did at Crystal Palace, and then you might see the Gallagher who scores goals, who's getting into the box late and right and all this kind of stuff, right? So there is that element.
Did he score at Palace? He scored something like 10, didn't he?
Yeah, something like
playing 9 league goals. Was it in the season?
Yes, something along
9,
those lines.
and he got quite a lot of assists as well, didn't he, in that season?
Well, who would complain about that? That's more than any 10 we had last season. Score.
Man, if we got like between 5 and 10
again, aren't we? You know what I mean? As a fan base, I feel like the midfield area right now shouldn't be a concern. You've got
you've got a good midfield.
You've got Bentancur and Gallagher, and then Gray, assuming Bergvall leaves. I've got no worries with that 5 as my 5.
No.
The question
I'd
now
say we've got a top 6-5 there. I'd say we've got a top 6 midfield.
Yeah.
So,
agree.
Rudolph, dude, you've got to. He's missed a couple of sitters in a friendly. So what? Hasn't everybody been missing chance in a friendly? Mate, look.
I will ask Rudolph this, Savva. Ask him, right? I'll ask him that just Sarr last season in pre-season was really good. He was really good. And what happened when he started playing competitive pressurized matches? He was fucking shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was rubbish.
That's where friendlies to me are totally irrelevant. They mean absolutely nothing. I don't
Agree.
watch them. I just watch the highlights of it because we've all seen it with teams. You can have 5 friendlies against good teams as such, go and win all of them 10-0 and then lose your first 5 games. Or you can get totally destroyed in your friendlies and go and win your first 5. Friendlies to me are totally irrelevant. As all they are is another extra little bit of training, basically. But again, that's just my personal side of it. That's how I see it.
So by the way, Rudolph, when you're talking about Rice and Gallagher, bearing in mind that Gallagher's 2 years younger, they've scored the exact same amount of goals in their career. So when you're saying
who scored the same amount? Sorry, Sam?
Declan Rice and Conor Gallagher. That wasn't a comparison I brought up. That was him. Declan Rice has played club games, has played 406 club games, right? And scored 36 goals.
Yeah.
And Conor Gallagher, what was that, 406 and 36? Conor Gallagher has played, sorry, 1 second. Bearing in mind, he's 2 years younger, by the way.
Yeah.
So Conor Gallagher's played 312 games. So he's played 100 games less and got 34 goals. So his actual ratio is much better than Declan Rice, right? Now, that wasn't a comparison of the two as footballers, guys. I love Declan Rice, but he was bringing him up, oh, Declan Rice scores goals. No, Declan Rice doesn't score many goals whilst playing for the best team in the country, right? They're very different players, but I'm not going to judge Conor Gallagher on. Look, no one was complaining about Conor Gallagher's goals when he scored that brilliant goal at Aston Villa.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, I think I find it hard to believe how people don't listen. No, Declan Rice wasn't bought to score goals. Guess what? Neither was Conor Gallagher. Guess what? Neither is Mateus Fernandes, really. Yeah, it's your Maddisons, your Kulus, your Xavi Simons, your Kuduses, your Tells, your Solankis, your Richies. They're the ones that have got to be scoring goals. Oh, I don't know, guys.
Because they play a total different style of football. They're there to do a different job, basically. Everyone's there to do a job, and you employed the best person to do that job you want them to do. That's
also, Dan. Also, I think what we're seeing now more and more in modern football is that you get a lot of players who can only play in specific systems or specific styles, right? Like 20 years ago, you buy a midfielder and they're a midfielder. They do like everything, right? You know what I mean? Nowadays, like Declan Rice has to do a specific role, right? He might not be a number 10 and he might not be able to play the number 10, but he's sure good as a central midfielder or number 6 type midfielder who's a deep lying sort of playmaker, breaks up play, wins the ball back, gets Arsenal going, but he does it at a high level, right? And he can score some long range efforts and he's very good at set pieces. That's another thing. He's got that in his armory, right? So I think that's also that where we are in today's society, in today's football, is that you have to kind of more people are finding players for certain systems and certain positions, right?
It's more robotic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is more like a computer program, right? Like a jigsaw puzzle. You have to find the player who can play in that system, in that style, who's got certain attributes, and he might fit the system, or he might benefit maybe the right back, or kind of what the Zerbi is already pointing to already, right? And then the other thing as well, which you have to deal with, is that I think there's so little strikers around nowadays, and you're seeing more and more teams starting to adapt to more versatile forward type of line, right? Where you've got players who can play all across the forward line, and they just rotate them and stuff like that. And I think you're getting more and more players like that, and you're getting less and less of the traditional number 9s.
Yeah,
I agree. Go on,
sorry, go on, man.
I agree. I think some people see it as in to be a quality player. I mean, I'm not going to say world class. I don't think there's many world class out there, but to be a quality player, you have to be able to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G as such. Well, no. To be a quality player, you just have to be bloody good at what you do in your position. Yes, it helps if that quality player can do a 10, a left, and a right as such. But just because that certain player can only play on the right wing and he's bloody good at it, all of a sudden he's not a quality player. A perfect example I'll give again, Porro. I keep saying it. He is not a right back. He cannot defend come love nor money. He nearly cost Spain against France twice because he's not a right back. But as soon as we've seen what Spain did with him and play him as a wing back, where 3/4 of the game he was actually sitting on the halfway line pressing forward with either their DM covering it or their defence covering his place, which obviously has come back as well, but played him as a specifically more attacking player, all of a sudden you see a quality player out there. Very good player. But he's not a right back. So when we actually play him as the right back and every team focuses on him because he can't bloody defend, you're now seeing a very good player not even looking like an average player. Play a player the right way to what he is best at doing is when you will see the better of a player. And that's how they need him in the positions, isn't it? You need that player to do that job in that position. And then if he can do it in other positions to cover you, then that's just a bonus.
Do you know what it is, Dan? I don't disagree with you. It's like when when I watch Porro for Spain, Porro for Spain is in a team which have 65-70% of the ball. Do you know what I mean? Like, so he's in his element. He's absolutely in his element, right? But to Danny's point, I think there's loads of good forwards over the world, but there's no 30-goal a season strikers over the world.
That is true.
That's the point, right? Now we're in this era, like you said, Danny, where there's more wide players or goals from out wide, or 49.
Forward attack, forwards they call them now, don't they?
Yeah. So when people are saying, that the striker market is dry, I think the striker market is dry if everyone thinks you're going out there and buying a 25 to 30 goal a season striker.
Yeah.
The striker market is dry. If you are buying a forward line where you can get 15 from here, 12 from there, 13 from there, I don't think it is dry. As I've said earlier in the show, I think the problem is that for years our scouting's been so bad that we're not scouting people like Solis. You know what I mean?
He would have been quality.
But we're not scouting people like that. We're not scouting, why don't we get an Akliush type player? There are players out there that will do a job, but we seem so hell-bent on just getting Premier League footballers that the market does feel very dry. That's why the same names keep coming up, right?
Do you know what as well, Savva? Oh, go on.
Sorry, it's just like Osman, Vlahovic. I see people saying like Julian Alvarez. We're not getting Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez is going to have much. Julian Alvarez is wanted, but I mean, Barcelona couldn't flirt with him anymore, could they? Like, they've got their fucking chairman.
Everyone wants him. PSG, Barcelona, they all want it. Arsenal.
So for me, it's about being smarter and finding 2 or 3 players that chip in, that give you more, that play to it. Like Danny always says, play to a system. Doesn't have to be the greatest players in the world, but they've got to play for a system. And this is where I think Savio will be good. I know people will disagree with me. I think Savio completely suits what De Zerbi does.
Agree.
I don't think Savio suits what Pep Guardiola does at all.
Completely agree there.
Do you know what I mean? So when people go, he only got 2 goals last year, that doesn't mean that he'll only get 2 goals this year.
Yeah.
Playing 90 minutes on his favoured left wing, arm around him, you're my guy, I believe in you. You suddenly see a different player.
Possibly. But on that side of it, I get what you're saying, but on that side, for me, I want goals. So Savinho isn't a player I would personally look at. But with what we have got at Spurs, I'll take him all day long. Now, if I want goals and someone, very patchy player, but has proven he can score significant goals in the Premier League, I'll take Rashford. Why? I don't like his attitude. I don't like Rashford at all, yeah? But patchy, yes, but he has proven he can score goals in the Premier League. Savino hasn't done that yet. So in that aspect, if we need goals up there, I'm more looking at Rashford personally. Even though I think Savino is a better player on the ball, whatever else. Can he cross the ball? I haven't really seen him do that good at that. He's passing, okay. Rashford, more of an inside forward for me, who can cut in and score that goal. And we're saying we haven't got goals. I think Rashford is more of a chance of actually getting the goals than Savino is. Savino, you're a bit more of a hit and hope that he would suit this system, or he will suit this system, and then get better as such. Whereas Rashford, we have seen him score goals. Not saying Savino won't do it. It's just I've seen Rashford do it. I haven't seen Savino do it.
I just think Savino, like Savva says, will fit the players that we're buying and the players that we have bought in that kind of possession-based football, right? If you look at like even yesterday against Chelsea, we had really good possession at times, and we looked like we were completely on top of them. Whenever it was we played them yesterday, I can't remember now. Yeah, so I think that when you've got players to suit the other players to complement them, and you've got a manager who believes that if you get a certain player like a Savino, he's going to complement what he's doing. He's going to complement the wing backs. He's going to complement the centre backs. Then when it all ticks together, if what he believes, then you'll start seeing something that's really quite good to watch.
If we can't get either of them two, and it does get to that point sometimes, we don't want it to get to that point where, okay, we've got absolutely nobody there, so we're going to have to try and get someone to cover it for the season. Yes, we don't want to do this here, him missing everyone else. Would Grealish, if he's fit, be a stupid one to go for to try and cover you the season?
Ooh,
because they say you can't, because they say Rome wasn't built in a day and everything else. And what would people rather we do? Go and just say, do you know what? Let's just try and put £80 million on that player and hit and hope. Or we're looking for a specific type of player. Hold your money back a bit more till you can get that specific type of player. Okay, Grealish, proven in the Premier League, he can do a job in there. Maybe he can hold that position for us for the season. We go spend that money on a striker that we know can do it as such.
That's a good question. I think I probably would take a Grealish on a loan or something like that. If we couldn't get the players that we want, right, and it gets to the point where we needed to kind of, well, it kind of goes to the point like where it means Spurs haven't really planned, because just say we can't get Savino and Gakpo, for example, then what's next? That's what you want to see, right?
Yeah.
And of course, like if the only option was Grealish, to me, it is underwhelming, because he even though he's a good player and I would take him, right? It's underwhelming because it means that they haven't really planned well in a scenario that a Gakpo or a Savino doesn't go through. If you know what I mean. But he's better than what we've got. So I would take him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we've got to realise as well, right, that we've gone from being really, really bad to now being very picky about who we want. And being picky,
that is true.
It's not a bad thing, but I do think that there's levels of what we can get. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think a Tonali and a Fernandes and a Van Hecker, I think this is probably about the right level for Tottenham Hotspur. I think if you want to start looking at the better players than those, I think you then need to start winning things regularly. I think you then need to start challenge for top 4 every season, right? But we just got to get better than what we've got now. And we've all got our own idea of what that is. But I just see a lot of players that we turn our noses up to that are just levels on the crap we've got up front right now.
Grealish could play number 10 as well, actually.
Yes.
He could play number 10 as well.
Yes. And that's what I mean. I don't want us to necessarily go out and get players that are slightly better than what we've got. Okay, it's an improvement, I get that, but I don't particularly want to do that, because our players are actually that poor in certain positions that if we only get slightly better, it's still going to be a poor player you're getting. So if I cannot go and get that specific player I want that's going to cost me 80 million, I would rather go and get myself a loan for the season that I know is better than what we've got, not just slightly better, maybe not of the same quality of what I want, but I can't get the one I want. So at least go and get yourself a player in on loan that is better than the one you've got, not just slightly better. And that's where I say I don't think Grealish would be the worst shout if we can't get Savino or Rashford.
I mean, yeah, he's a very look. I think what we know, you know what you're going to get from Grealish.
Until that injury, he was doing really well at Everton.
Is I think we need 3 new forwards, and that's the problem. Where we
agree. Yeah, that's what I've said. Yeah.
I think we need 3. I think we need that front 3 I watched yesterday. There's just nothing in any of them that was frightening at all. I know Tell had that one good dribble, but it ended up with the ball dribbling into the goalkeeper's hands. Manor Solomon huffs and puffs. Manor Solomon, I don't hate him. He is what he is, right? For me, Manor Solomon is a top half of the. He's a top 6 championship player. Like if he went down to West Ham the season and played on the right wing for West Ham, I'm sure he'll get 15 goals and 15 assists. I've got no doubt about that. But for me, I feel we need players right the way across, left, central, right. And there are players all over Europe. But again, I keep coming back to this. If we're only buying Prem proven, then you have only got Rashford, Gakpo, Savio, Grealish. You haven't got many options, right? So we either get behind this plan from the football club where it seems like they're not scouting abroad, or we don't, right? I don't know. I don't know. But right now, I can't get any excitement for the season while I know this is the forward line. Now, I'm not saying it will be on day one, but I would have just wanted us to go into the Brentford game with our attack ready to go. Do you know what I mean? Our new look attack. And so far, we're going into that game with this attack, no playmakers fit. I don't know what's going on with Kudus. So there are concerns for me. There are big concerns.
No, I agree with that. Up front, we're a shambolic mess, I think is the best way I can put it politely. I do think we are a total mess. And I really hope I'm wrong here, but I've seen that we're meant to be going for Osimhen. I said that's who I want us to go for. Go for it. If we can get him, why not?
I don't believe that. I don't believe that for one second.
But I'm just saying if it does happen, then like we're saying, just look in the Premier League, look abroad. If we could get him, I would absolutely love that. But then strikers, there's such a few and far between choices out there. I'm not going to be surprised if we start the season with Richarlison and Solanke. I'm not saying it's what I want, but it's the hardest place to actually get somebody. I can see us getting someone on the left.
It's like that. It's like Savva said. There are strikers out there, but not the 25+ goal a season strikers, right? They're the few and far between, right? But there are strikers who can get you 15, 20 goals a season, right? So, and I think like what I think what De Zerbi wants, just my opinion, is that he wants to be able to get, say, for example, you have a Savinho there, 5 to 10 goals, Kudus, 5 to 10 goals, Maddison, 5 to 10 goals, your striker, 10 to 15 goals, your second striker, 10 to 15 goals, right? Your Tonali, 5 to 10 goals, Fernandez, or your centre back, or whoever it is. You need to spread the load of the goals around the team, and if you can do that, we'll have enough. But I get the where people are worried, because I am still worried to a point. We still need to get those 2 or 3 attackers in, and even then, are they going to score goals, right? So that is the worry. But I believe that they will if we get the 3 attackers in that we need.
I don't think we're going to get 3. I don't see that one happening.
I think
if we're lucky, 2 if we're lucky.
I think we get lucky. 2. We get 2, and if another one leaves, we get another one. That's what I think.
Fair enough.
Still.
Yeah, you're right, guys. You good?
Hello, mate. You all right?
Good.
You look hungover.
Yeah, I'm just nursing a bit of a hangover. I'm all right.
I know that feeling from yesterday. I spent the day in bed.
I went out in yeah, mate. You did a bottle. God knows, I don't know how you did that. But no, I went out for 1 drink in Paphos and ended up having 10. So
it's how it happens. It's just how it happens, isn't it? Sort of go with the flow.
Mate, it was, yeah, oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, watching Spurs is just it's frustrating because we play out from the back well. We look half decent in the middle. I feel Tonali's he's a bit lost because he hasn't got players on the same wavelength around him at the moment. You know, there's no Maddison, there's no Xavi, there's no Kudus, there's no Bentancur. He's, you know, Gallagher tries, you know, he runs around a lot. And then Bergvall's not really going to do nothing. And then he's got Archie Gray bombing up the wing. Is, you know, he hasn't got that same group of players on his wavelength around him. So I think he's a bit lost at the moment. But we play well. Our possession stats are good. Our passing accuracy is so much better now. We playing out from the back, we look comfortable doing it. We don't look like we're worried or panicky. We're composed. It just gets to the final third and it's utter dog shit. It's absolute crap. And mate, it's awful. It's awful. Solanke did nothing yesterday. Like, he did nothing. Richie came on. He did absolutely fuck all. And because he scores a tap in, you see, Richie, like, come on. Any of us could have scored that. And by the way, Mikey Moore and Williams Barnett were queuing up to hit that in the back of the net if Richie wasn't there anyway. And then, like, everyone, you know, Tell's getting better. Getting better at what? What's he getting better at? Like, the amount of times he passed backwards to Gallagher, I lost count. He had one good dribble all game. And the fact that we can all remember it is because he did nothing else all game. Right? The fact you can remember that dribble is because he did nothing else. The best moment of the game was when Kai Martin spanned that Chelsea player on the flank, left him dead, sent him packing, drove into the middle of the pitch, went to the edge of the box and smashed it off the crossbar. That was the best thing we did all game, which was an individual player just being a bit adventurous. But other than that, I thought we'd done well. I thought we were resilient against Chelsea, 10 men. Yeah, great. Let's see what we do when the season starts. But that final third for me, guys, is shocking. And I'm not hearing this. I think Solomon's been the best of a bad bunch, but that doesn't make him good. Right? Just because he stands out because the others are crap doesn't mean that he's good.
He's the only one who can cross still. He's the only one who can actually cross a ball.
Dan, he's still not good enough. This is the
I'm not saying he is.
Do you know what I think the problem is we've got? Like, the actual problem. We've spent big money on a centre-back. We've brought in a really technical player from Bournemouth to play alongside the expensive centre-back. We've brought in two very, very, very good midfielders for a lot of money. And then we've signed experienced players like Robertson and Dubravka. And you think, right, we've actually done a good job. But the biggest problem, the glaring disaster at Tottenham for the last 2 years is the front three. And we haven't gone big with real talent on that, but we've done it for the rest. So now we're having the conversation of, would you accept a Gakpo? Would you accept this guy? It's almost like we're going to accept below standard, but better than what we've got because it's better than what we've got. But yet all the other positions, we've actually gone for it. We've genuinely gone big, but we're not going to go big on the thing that needed to go the biggest.
I don't think we have gone big. Sorry, where I'll disagree, right? I think...
You don't think we've gone big in midfield, Savva?
Yeah, in terms of price, but these are the types of players we should have been buying. Like,
big for us. Sorry, big for
yeah. Listen, I agree with you. I agree with most of what you said. I don't think Solomon's been the best. I think none of them. I don't rate any of them, mate. I don't rate any of that forward line at all. None of them get me off my seat. None of them are creative. None of them score goals. None of them. Still, I've said this to you for years, right? Said this to you for years. We will see what Spurs do up top when Kane and Son go. Kane went, and we didn't do anything. Son's gone. We're now sitting here a year later and we haven't done anything. Listen, they all seem like nice guys. They work hard. If I look at Solanke, if I look at Tell, if I look at Solomon, they seem like good people. They work hard, but it's a really poor forward line. Mikey Moore, sorry, another one. I don't see anything in him. Odegaard is another one, very average. Kudus for me is the only one of note. But I want to see Kudus with a proper striker and a proper left winger to connect with. Do you know what I mean? I want us to actually have a forward line where we can go, right, how do they work off each other? And I feel like we're trying to make players better than they are because we don't have any quality in those areas. I'll just say, in my 40 years of supporting Tottenham, this is the worst group of forwards I've seen as a collective.
Yeah.
You know, we've had bad forwards before, Stel, but we always had there was always one in that group where you went, oh, well, he's your guy. Like Teddy. Teddy played with some really crap players at times, but it was Teddy, right? You know, Klinsmann was there. You know, Kane's played with some bad players, but it was Kane. We're just now I'm in a position where whenever a game starts for Tottenham, I go, whenever that ball gets to one of that front three, nothing's going to happen. Like nothing. No, there's no link up. There's no 1-2s. There's no one who I feel like their shots are going to fly in. You know, Solanke and Richie for me aren't clinical at all. I think Tell's very good, as I said, with the dead balls. I think when the ball is killed stone dead, I think he's actually got a good shot. But when he's taking shots in open play, I think they kind of dribble at the goalkeeper. Manos Solomon doesn't seem to have a shoot. Like, I don't know what he does. So I don't know. I need to see new forwards before I can get excited. We've gone big money.
You know, I agree. We've got to buy.
Savva, there's 20 days left. There's 20 days until the season starts, and we've still not rectified anything in that area.
I say it on your show. I say it on Dan's show. I say it on my show. I was on We Are Tottenham TV. I said it there yesterday. Tell, Richie, Solomon, not Moani, Solanke, none of them are good enough for this football club. And none of them will ever be, including Tell, who people want to waffle about being. No other club hypes about Tell. No other fan base hypes about Tell except for us. Why? Right? Tell, Solanke, Richie, and Solomon, none of them ever will be a Keane, a Defoe, a Berbatov, a Kane, a Son, a Klinsmann, a Sher. None of them. And on that basis, they shouldn't be at this club, because that's what we need if we're going to be great. We need that level of player. We have none of them are of that level, not a single one, and they never will be. I'm frustrated because I can actually see De Zerbi implementing a proper way of playing football. I like the way we play under De Zerbi. I enjoy watching. There's certain times where there's one or two moments in the game where you just think, if there was the end product, that would have been an unbelievable team goal. That would have been a sensational team goal. But there's no end product, so you kind of forget the moment. Listen, I think with these front 3, 4, whatever they are, we're going to finish mid-table, even one game a week, unless we replace at least 2 of them with proper goal scorers. We're not going to get top 6 unless we bring in 2. So I can see it unraveling. And it's going to be very frustrating. It's going to be really frustrating as well.
Technically, even if we replace them as such, we still need to keep Tell, Solanke, and possibly even Solomon, because we've actually got no covers for that area either.
When I say replace,
I'm not saying no, I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. I'm just adding the extra bit to it that I don't think we can sell either of these 3 unless we're going to get 2 left wingers, 2 right wingers, or whatever. I mean, right, if Kudus comes back, I don't, like you said, Savva, I don't know what's happening with Kudus. But technically, we do actually have to keep all 3 of them. We just have to at least get a better left winger and a striker as such, or a right winger as well, because Kudus, you don't know whether he's coming or going at the moment. Kulusevski, do we know if he is actually going to come back properly to the injury he's had and that? Left and striker, definitely the main 2 we need. But I think we still got to keep all 3 of the other ones that we've got for backup, basically, in case anything does go wrong. Okay, it's a massive step down, but a massive step down is better than nothing, or a massive step down, do you then get rid of them 3 and then rely on youth if something goes wrong? I think we're in a bit of a situation there where them 3, I don't think we really get rid of them.
Yeah, look, look, as I said, this isn't about one player. This is, I'm grouping the entire forward line together other than Kudus. I'm grouping the whole of it together. I don't know how we've possibly allowed to build that group of forwards together all at the same time. You know, it's not like we've got 2. It's not like, you know, like when you had Kane and Son, and there was always question marks about the 3rd one. Do you know what I mean? It was always like, oh, is it Bergwijn? Is it Mora? Is it? Do you know what I mean? Right? But now it's like it's all of them. I don't look at any of them and go, yeah. I don't look at any of them and get excited. I don't like. I know there's this thing for Tell at the moment. I know that Richie's got his little group of people that back him. But do those players scare anyone? if you're a defender, are you worried about playing against them? That's the question I always ask myself. Are fullbacks worried? Are centre halves worried? I don't know if they are. And we've got to sort this out, guys. We've got. I think everyone keeps going. We will have forwards in. I just think the question is who, right? And that's why I think for me the no-brainer is Marcus Rashford. I think the no-brainer is. I think he ticks every single box. Does anyone think of a box he doesn't tick?
I don't know. I'm 50-50 with Rashford. I'm not yes or no.
Mate,
I'll take him because he's better than Solanke.
Scores goals, played for massive clubs, homegrown. Again, I keep hearing this. There didn't seem to be any problem with his attitude at Barcelona or Aston Villa. What attitude? Like I didn't see.
If someone scores goals, why do we care if they don't have a good attitude? If they score goals, if they do their job, if you're a striker, your job is to score goals. If he does his job, who cares about the attitude?
I don't like Romero's attitude, but if he had consistent games, I wouldn't be arguing with him. My argument with Romero over the past 2.5 years, yes, his attitude stinks. I think he was a terrible captain, and we know he's a quality player on his day, but he just don't deliver. I've said it 100 times. You get a 10, you get a 9, and then a 1, and then a 2, and then a 4, and then an 8, and then a 2, and a 1. So if Romero was the way he was, attitude, everything else and all that, but delivered 7 times out of 10 as such, I wouldn't really be arguing with him. I'd just say, yeah, I think the fella's a bit of a prick, but he does the job, so who cares?
Also,
but he don't.
Also, Dan, you have to ask the question, like, why has no other top team ever tried to come for Romero?
I've said that for 2 years now.
I know you have.
Well, they want him, but they're not prepared to pay the price we think he's worth. We think he's 50, 60. Clubs think he's 35, 40.
Yeah, so they can't rate him that much, right? Like,
he's going to go to Inter. He will end up at Inter. I was chatting to Iggy. Iggy's deep in with the Italian media and the news, and because he's a big Serie A fan. He loves AC Milan. He's Italian, but he said to us 2 days ago that Romero will be at Inter. So
good for him.
So I've got to put up with him again.
He'll be gone. Romero will be gone.
So I've got to put up with Romero again.
The thing is, I think one of the key things is I do feel like as football fans, we talk a lot about players and their attitude when we don't really know them. Like I've not really seen what is the attitude with Rashford that he's meant to have. It seems like there was a lot of people at Man United who were in that bad situation, but that have moved on and they've all done well, and there doesn't seem to be a problem. The Villa fans loved Rashford, said he was absolutely perfect. He's just got, was it 25 GA for Barcelona last year?
Yeah,
I mean,
I love Rashford, man. I love him at Spurs.
Yeah, like
absolutely.
I'm not saying he's the only one, but again, I'm sorry to sound like I broke a record, Danny, but I'm going back to that. If we are only buying people from the Premier League, then surely he's got to be one of the few options, right? But like you said earlier, Danny, the problem is when we're talking about going and buying top forwards, one, there's not loads of top forwards in terms of, 30 goals a season. And two, if those players do exist, they're not joining Tottenham. I don't know if we agree that they're not. By the way, I don't know who that is.
Not now.
The 30 goal a season strikers are Lautaro Martinez. He's not leaving Inter, right? Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, Mbappe, Osimhen. I mean, but again, this is a guy we're talking about who's on what 450.
He ain't leaving. He's not leaving.
Right.
He turned down Chelsea and Saudi Arabia because he knew that he could play Champions League football and still get tax-free 400 grand a week in Turkey. That's why he went there. There's no other reason.
Yeah, I mean, over here to get that. I think the only pulling power we could have on Osimhen, again, it is shown that money can talk, and he's blatantly a mercenary player. So you'd think if he's blatantly mercenary, then he'd stay where the money is. But I don't know, maybe he's got it in his mentality that he'd want to come and play in the best league in the world. And if we're the only ones that will bid for him and pay a significant amount of his money and give him a massive, signing on fee and everything, nothing's impossible. We've proved that money talks, but do I see it happening? Not really. Would I like to see us try for it? If you don't try, you don't get. But I get what you're saying, Dan. he's that much of a mercenary.
do you know
I don't
something?
see him dropping 100 grand.
Yeah, I agree.
Back in the day, we always had like a third or second choice striker that wasn't really great, but they did a job, like a Kanute, a Pavlyuchenko, those kind of players.
Pavlyuchenko.
Honestly, I think Spurs right now, just for 1 year, go and find a Pavlyuchenko, go and find a Freddie Kanute, and let's just go with that. And then next year, focus on maybe trying to bring in an elite player up front, because we're running out of time and we're going to end up doing what we always do, which is a panic signing, like a Mawani, lastminute.com, or what's his name, a Sissoko on the...
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Because that will just ruin everything. Go and find a Pav, go and find a Kanute. They'll get you between 10 to 15 goals each a season. And you know what? We'll go with it. Just do that.
Still,
do that, right with
I'm always asked about names. Now, I offer some names across Europe that everyone turns their nose up at. Like, I'm talking about people like Burkhardt in Germany, right? Undav.
Who is Burkhardt? Sorry, Sam. I don't know who he is.
He plays in the Bundesliga. He's got a lot of goals. He's got a lot of goals over the last couple of years. He's a bit... I don't know if anyone...
Is he a striker? Is a striker?
Yeah, he's a bit Gyökeres-ish, I would say. Okay. But you've got people like Panicelli, right, over in Strasbourg. You know, you've got players that are all over that, they're not 30-goal-a-season strikers, but none of them are. Nowhere is there 30-goal-a-season strikers. No. So, you know, for me, I just think that we need to be scouting better. I think we need to be looking at different profiles of player away from Richie and Solanke in that number 9 area. And I agree with Stel. If you go and get the player who might not be the biggest name that all the fans rave about, but will do you a solid job, you know, keeps it ticking. Look at Brighton down the years, having Danny Welbeck up front, right? Danny Welbeck, by the way, fantastic footballer. First, forget goal scorer. Fantastic footballer. You know what you're getting from him. And he must have got them 12, 13 goals a season. We kind of need that, but someone that can link up play. Because Richarlison gets you 11 goals, but can't play. He can't link up. He can't, do you know what I mean? So I think we've got to... I think we've got to be smarter in the market. I really do think we've got to be smarter. And I don't know about you lot. I'd like somebody maybe a bit diminutive up front. You know, like... You know, someone with a bit of zip in them, a bit of go. Like
an Alvarez type.
Yeah. You know, so even like when I watch Balogun play, just for example, he stretches the back four, he's running behind, he's dropping to link. When I watch Solanke and Richie, I kind of know exactly what they're going to do every time. So
nothing.
You know, I don't really want a big centre forward who can't move anymore. I don't. It's just me, guys. I want a bit of...
I agree.
Just someone who's in and around the box, zipping about, you know.
That's why, for me, Sav, Krupi would have been so ideal, because I think he's the perfect player. I think, I don't know who else. Yeah, Balogun could be a good shout. He could be a good shout. I don't know too many other players because I'm not really, like, I don't really watch players or look at players. So you guys have to tell me which players would suit our system and stuff like that.
Anyone that's got technical ability with intelligence will suit our system, because they will get the instruction and they will get the tactical play.
Stel, let me give you a name.
Can I just say one of my dream ones? Oh, yeah, he'd be decent.
Ketelaere from Atalanta can play in the false 9. He can play up front. He can play down the channels. Technically very good. Scores goals. He's what, 20, I don't know, 2? 23,
something like that,
right? Like there's players. It's one when people keep saying to me the market's dry. It's only dry if you want that big star signing like Haaland, where they don't exist anymore.
Do you know what I'd love, Savva?
What do you think of Walter Marday? I had a Teslim came on my show yesterday, and he gave me the data on Walter Marday, and the data does show he's very, very clinical, but he just doesn't have enough chances created from him. I don't know enough.
I like Walter Marday.
I like Walter Marday.
Yeah, 100% I would. I think he'd be a really good striker for Spurs.
I like him. He's not going anywhere, though. there's no way Newcastle, after selling all these top players, are going to let him go as well. And he'd cost an absolute bomb because he's from the Premier League. I just think there's so many Walter Mardays out there. If we scout,
he's a bit like a Sesko, isn't he? Sesko, Walter Mardays, a bit similar type of player.
I think he'll have a good season this year, Sesko. And he grew
I
into
do
the
too.
league last year. He really started to grow into that league in the second half of the year. I agree with Phil. Be technical. It's got to be that when that ball goes into their feet still in that final third, that if they're nowhere near getting a shot away, that they can hold it up, bring others into the game, link up. We need some technical ability.
I know it won't happen, right? But my perfect player for this system would be Ferran Torres.
I'd love Torres. He'd
be amazing.
You know, half the fan base, Danny, I mentioned him yesterday. Yeah. Half my chat was saying yes. The other half of my chat was saying he's a scrub. He's a bum.
Oh, my God. What is wrong with people?
Listen, if we sign him, it will divide the fan base. And there's no reason for it to do that.
I don't understand. I don't understand that still.
There's people that think he's a bum. They say that he's a scrub.
He is top.
Do our fans think that we are Liverpool or Man City? Like some of the players I see our fans turn their noses up to, I'm like, we've been watching bloody Richie Solanke, Brennan Johnson, Oda Bertel, Papa Sarberg. We've been watching some absolute crap for years. And then Barcelona forward, Spain forward, Ferran Torres. Nah, wouldn't want it. What are we doing?
See, you've even got someone in your chat calling him the next Darwin Núñez. It's like, it's mad.
Oh my God. And do you know what's crazy as well, right? If you look at if people just don't, do you know why they say that still? Do you know what? I have a funny feeling a lot of these people who say that, they play FIFA or something like this, and because he's not good on a game or something, he's not like a 90 pace merchant or some shit, then he's shit. That's what these people are like, right? They've got no idea. Ferran Torres is perfect for Spurs and the way the Zerbi wants to play because he's technically very good, right? He's good he can shoot from distance. He's good on both feet. He knows how to press. His passing ability is very, very good, right? And he's pretty decent in the box from heading as well, right? And if you look at his actual data and statistics, since he's been at Barcelona, year in, year out, his goal output has got better and better, and he's moved further forward. And last season was the season where he played more games than any other season in his career as a centre forward, and he scored the most goals. So he's got over 20 goals. Now, that's a top player.
Imagine we've got fans saying, let
he's a bomber, by the way. Ferran Torres.
Imagine we have fans in our fan base that say things like, let De Zerbi develop Tell, but Torres is a scrub. Let's focus on Tell.
Class.
Forget Ferran Torres.
This is a question for you boys. Who would you prefer?
Torres will automatically be the best attacker we've got in the club. He will be the best attacker at Tottenham if we sign him.
Let me ask you a question then, Stel, whoever wants to answer it, all of you boys. Who would you prefer if you had a choice between Cody Gakpo's striker or Ferran Torres? Who are you picking if we could get one of them?
Torres.
Ferran, Ferran Torres. I'd take both.
Yeah, I'd take both as well.
Ferran Torres.
I'd take both as well. Sure. But if it was only one, for me, it's Torres. I think he's perfect for De Zerbi.
There's a reason PSG are trying to sign him. Right? I do like it when our fans say no to these players, and yet the big boys want them. I do find it very funny.
Look at the attack that PSG got, and they're still trying to sign him.
But this goes back to, do you remember in January how many people I'd see on YouTube channels will say things like Akliush, he's coming from a farmers league, wouldn't want him. Yeah, PSG. You know what I mean? Like honestly, I listen. I think we know it's going to be Savio. I feel like we all know it, even if we don't want to admit it. I think we all know there's been so much noise around it. I think we all know it's Savio. My question is, who after? My question is, who else? I like Savio, but who else? Who are you buying? Who's your goal scorer? Who's your Who's your false nine? Who's your nine? You know,
that's the one I'm struggling to see where we get someone. Basically, that's what I'm saying. I really won't be surprised if we start with Solanke and Richarlison this year. I'm not saying I want that, but that's the one I think we're really going to struggle to get someone.
Do you know what? I would honestly really try really hard. I know it's not going to happen, but I would give it a go. I really would give it a go and try and bring Harry Kane back. I would just give it a go.
I question him if he comes back. I question him and his mentality. If he leaves Bayern Munich to join Tottenham Hotspur, you have to ask why.
They've got a chance to win the Champions League next year.
I'll be honest with you.
This season, sorry.
I won't care. I just want to see.
No, I know, but I can't see it happening at all. I feel like we've got to move on from.
It's not going to happen. It's not
find a way of playing without him.
It's not going
to. You know, I feel like the Kane. I feel like as a fan base, we look back so much. You know, every time we need a manager, Poch's name comes up. Every time we need a striker, it's Kane. I feel like we need to go out, get a De Ketelaere, someone like that. Get a Panicelli, get someone younger, and let's build and grow. And you know, I don't know. I'm just annoyed that there's 20 days to go until the season starts and we haven't done any of these things. That's what I'm frustrated about.
I think we'll sign a player this week.
If we end up not signing anyone else, say we have to stick with what we got, how much of a success or failure would you say this window is? Or is it okay or whatever? I wouldn't call it a failure personally. I'd say it's a respectable.
I'd say what Zerbi said, 60%.
Yeah.
It's a 60% window.
I'd say it's respectable because we have actually brought in some good players. So I don't think it's a total. Obviously, we need up front, no two ways about it. But
I think. Do you know what, Dan? I think what it does for us, right? What we've done so far is it shores up the midfield because last couple of seasons, right? Tottenham have been absolutely outplayed in the midfield. We have looked like boys against men in the majority of the games, right?
Totally.
And that's been the problem in the midfield. And when you lose the midfield battle like we do, right, all the time, right, because we're not strong enough, they're not technically good enough, right? It puts far more pressure on the defense, right? And you're more susceptible to conceding goals. Because of that, because of the consistent pressure that you're facing from the attackers of the opposition team, right? So for me, if you've shored up that midfield and you've got that sort of steel in the midfield, the engine, and the defense, right? You're gonna concede far less chances and far less goals, right?
Yeah.
But it still doesn't alleviate the problem of. It's kind of what you were saying yesterday, Dan, right? It doesn't alleviate the problem of the scoring, but it gives you the chance to still have more points than what we got last season. In the games where we lost 1-0 or something like that, or 2-1, you might get a win from that, from a set piece or something like that. Or
because we lost a lot. Midfield, losing in midfield and also defence and also goalkeeper lost us a lot of points last season as well.
Obviously,
we all know the strike force was a problem. But if we've only got what we've got now, but that midfield and that defence can be good enough to, say, for instance, get us an extra 15 points. If we would have had 15 points on what we had last season, how much further up the table would we have been?
And do you know what, Dan?
I don't know. It's an actual question.
No, I think they were saying that if we had turned, how many draws did we have at home or losses did we have, and if we turned those into points, we would have finished like 5th in the league or something. I don't know the actual statistic. I can't remember.
It's easier to win games 1-0 than it is easier to play. You score 3, we score 4.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think next season we're going to be far more solid as a unit, as a team. Right, and I think we'll concede far less chances.
Not so many stupid goals as such.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, I think so. I think we won't have as many stupid goalkeeper mistakes. I do think we will have mistakes, like every team does, but I don't think it'll be as many as we had in the last couple of seasons. But again, it's like the other concern is how are we going to score goals? Like Stell's been banging on it, Savva's been saying it, and I think we do need to really hope and pray really that we do sign a couple of attackers in the next 2 weeks.
It's going to be the conversation every single week, every single show. When
Yeah.
we just look toothless up front. It's not going to stop. Every preseason game, it's the same
But it
thing.
shouldn't be still, right? By now, surely we should have seen one. Surely by now, like we've just finished pre-season tour. You know, do we play next Saturday or Sunday? I think we play twice, don't we? Or
I think it's Saturday.
I'd expect a striker or someone to come in by then. I'd expect someone to.
It just feels very...
Next Saturday,
I don't know, it's almost like, you know, they did all that good stuff with Tonali and Fernandes, and it's like we've had nothing for a month, and there's no one seems to be leaving either. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's kind of like
that's a concern.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can I ask you guys a question? Do you think the reason we haven't seen anyone is because we haven't got rid of the players that we're trying to get rid of, and they're trying to free up more space in the squad, or do you think it's just because the other teams that we're trying to buy the players off are not budging at the moment?
I don't know, but you know,
if you were to guess,
I've heard for ages, you know, but City don't want to let Savinho go. Cool. Well, who's your next target then? Do you know what I mean? You know, let move. You know, we can't. I don't know, Danny. Look, do you know what I'd love to see, mate? Honestly, I'd love to see 2 signings come in now in the forward areas where I can go, yes, we've got a new forward line. Yes, I want to watch the next Spurs game. Problem is now I'm watching the Spurs games, and I think Stell nailed it. And I'll paraphrase, I don't know exactly, but he said, we're good at the back. We have a lot of the football now. There's some nice patterns. But the moment that ball goes into that final third, I don't know about you still, but I just go, oh, like nothing's...
It's awful. It's awful.
You know, and if you look at the goals we've scored this pre-season, right? So we've got a really good free kick from Tell. You've got Tonali from outside the box, Fernandes from outside the box, and I think the ball that was pulled back for Richarlison in the 6-yard box. There's no real, do you know what I mean? There's no real one-touch passing, linked up, playing a striker through, and he's dinked it over. We don't have those sort of goals. And I watched the Arsenal highlights last night. I don't know if anyone saw Arsenal's highlights against Girona.
I didn't. I was going to watch it. I didn't see it. What was it like?
Well, look at some of the goals they're putting in. Good team movement. You know what I mean? 1-2s. Solis cuts in, whips one in the corner. You know, Havertz is played through, dinks it in, and you're like...
Solis scored yesterday.
Who? Yeah.
Did you say he scored? He's a top player, man.
And when we mentioned his name for Spurs, a lot of our fans said, "Nah, he's rubbish. He's overrated."
Based on the data, he's one of the best wingers in Europe last season, wasn't he?
Mate, I was on Dan's show. And Dietrich's came telling me that if we sign the right forwards, we might finish above Arsenal. And I said to him, mate, do you not think Arsenal are not going to sign good players and they're just going to still be really, really good and finish above us? And he goes to me, and then I mentioned Solis. I said, mate, they've just signed Solis. And he goes, have you even seen Solis? He said, yeah, he's good. He's like, no, he's not. And this is what I mean. we mug off players like that.
Oh, Dietrich's a donor anyway.
Solis is a good footballer. Listen, he might take a bit of time to adapt. I know fans don't want to give anyone any time to adapt, but I think he's going to be a really good football. And he's coming into a very settled football team, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the key. That's the key.
You know what I mean? He's not coming into a team that's rebuilding. He's coming into a team where, you know, I don't even know if he'll start. You got him and Martinelli fighting out for that spot. You know he's going to play every other game, or, you know, they're playing 2 games a week, 4 competitions. But we don't seem to scout players like that. We just don't. We don't seem to be able to scout players like that. And that's a real thing that Spurs have got to change in the next few years for me personally. You know?
Arsenal have got their recruitment sorted. They've restructured. Their recruitment is on point. They know what they're doing at that club. We're still kind of there, but not there. I still feel our recruitment's a little bit. It's better, but it's still disjointed. It doesn't. You know, we could have got Krupi if we just pay the money, get the player. We delayed, back and forth. Now he's injured. You could have avoided all of that. You could have avoided all of that if you just got it done. But we delayed and we waited. It's almost like when it comes to attackers, we're really poor at getting business.
We can't do it.
Yeah.
See, so far, when you look at the players we've bought in still, when people talk about scouting, none of these are scouted, right? Like, no one needed to scout Senesi. He's been in the Premier League for how many years? Everyone knows what he is. Van Hecker's been at Brighton for 5 years, and De Zerbi brought him over to the country, right? You've got Andy Robertson. Everyone knows Andy Robertson. He's been in the Premier League for how long, right? Tonali, Fernandes. These aren't players you have to go out and scout. That's the test for me now. In the next 3, 4, 5 windows, the next test for me is, all right, if you can't just go and drop £90 million on every midfielder that you buy, where are you scouting? And I don't mean the Greys and the Bergvals. I mean, where are you scouting from? Where are we getting a solace from Club Bruges? Do you know what I mean? Where can we scout those players? That's what I really want to see.
Do you think, Sav, do you think that because of, for all of you, do you think the reason why we've gone for Premier League players this season, or Premier League proven players, is because of how scared they were of where we were last season and nearly getting relegated, that they just want to focus on players they know can perform in the Premier League, and then maybe next season their strategy might change based on how good they do, and they might start scouting that outside.
Absolutely, it wasn't in place. You can't just implement a scouting team over the course of a few months. Of course, but you're not going to see the fruits of it for a long time. Hopefully, in the background, that's what we're doing. And then when we get to January and next summer, you start to see a few gems. Because look, it's not my money, but it's not sustainable. You're not going to have 350, 400 million pound windows every summer, right? You can't spend 80, 90 million pounds on every footballer. Even Man City don't do that, right? For me, it's scouting is absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. And if we scout it properly, we will then start trusting the club, right? So when we bring in an unknown, we'll start trusting the club. You go, okay, we've actually, look at Brighton. When Brighton bring in an unknown player, their fans trust it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where they're from. They trust it because they know they've been doing this for years. The fans know that the scouts and the model they work to bring in the right players for the club. Where we haven't really had a way of playing or an ethos or a scouting network, every time we bring in a player, it's kind of like, okay, what was he bought for? Like Sousa. We're talking about selling Sousa for 20 million, which is great. But you're like, well, who bought him? Why? What was the, so I feel like
our bad scouting is part of where we are. Our bad scouting is part of the reason where we are. This is why I can understand that. I mean, it's like me. I always want an established player that I know has done well and can do well. We all know that any buy is a hit and miss. You can go for the best player on the planet and he might just not work at your team. But there's a significantly better chance that he will work than someone you've just scouted from far, far away. So the situation we're in at the moment, I can understand going for Premier League players that have proven they can do it in the Premier League. We've seen them do it. We've seen them be established and can do it. Okay, Fernandes, but he's still got 2 years experience in the Premier League. Whether he's been in relegation teams or not isn't the point, because he didn't get relegated. The team got relegated. And that is why for next season, this season coming, I want us to go for established players. I don't want players that deserve a chance, like a Tell, like a Kinksky. I want players that have done it for 5 years, and I know 90%, 85% chance they will improve our team because they have done good for 5 years. Tell, he deserves a chance. Well, why does he deserve a chance? Well, he's been here like 2 years. Yeah, and he really hasn't done much. Kinksky, he deserves a chance. Why? What? Because he had 5 good games and now he's had a good friendly. 2 massive deserves a chance. Me personally, I want the player in there who's proven over 4 or 5 years who can do it. And then the following season, we take a step up. The following season, we take a step up. And then we can start looking at players who deserve a chance to slowly milk them into the team, because we've now got an established 11 and the squad is getting deeper and everything else. This is why I don't want players that deserve a chance. I don't want
Kinksky
players
was
that
good again, Dan,
good.
yesterday. Kinksky,
yeah, it's a friendly.
Yesterday.
It's a friendly.
Yeah, but we're slagging off. Hold on. So then
I'm not
so then
slagging no one off.
No, but so then by that logic, we should say, well, don't worry if the attackers are crap. It's just a friendly.
Well, we know no. We know the attackers have been. I thought I turned the ringtone.
Kinski.
We all know these attackers have been crap for 3 or 4 years and have been nothing special in their season. Kinski has had 5 good games and a good friendly. Nothing more, nothing less.
Mate, Kinski, other than that Atletico Madrid away game and the Newcastle Carabao Cup game that he got thrown into, hasn't put a foot wrong. He's so. Do you know
why
what?
wasn't he our main keeper over Vicario then?
Because we've had managers that, in my opinion, don't know what they were doing. And I also think the recruitment team haven't been aligned with the managers. And let me tell you this. You know, one thing I've noticed about Kinski pre-season, a lot of our composure at the back stems from him. He's so calm at the back on the ball, even when being pressed. I've seen several times
100%.
try to press him, and he comfortably shifts the ball, left foot, right foot, goes around them and just plays it. That settles the entire back line. I honestly think Kinski is going to surprise everyone this year.
I really hope he does.
I've been saying that still. I said it's good. I really hope
he does.
Me and Dan have had this back and forth over Kinski. Like,
what would you rather? Okay, what would you rather do? I do agree. He looks very good on the ball.
I think he suits us. I think he suits.
Okay,
what we're trying.
I'm not disputing none of that. Yeah, but again, for me, that's living on hope because you're seeing how many games has he actually played in the Premier League?
Yeah, but Dan.
No. Answer the question. How many has he played in the Premier League?
I don't know the number.
It's
how many has he played in a big league of football?
Can I just say one thing, Dan?
10.
Okay, 10.
12.
So I would rather go out and spend 35 million on Sevilla, the best goalkeeper in Italy at the moment, with 30 clean sheets, and put him in there because I know there's a significant chance he does it because he's been playing solid.
But hold on. What's the proof that Sevilla's going to come to the Premier League and actually do well? Because how many times have keepers come from big fees?
That anybody's going to do well, Dan? What's the proof that
anybody's going to do well? Dan, let me just say this.
We've got off the point I was making. The point I was making is he suits us. So I would ask the question, how many games has he played in the Premier League in a possession-based playing it out from the back team?
I get where you're coming from.
None.
I get where you're coming from.
It's only now he's getting to do it. And he's showing.
Okay, but it's still a chance.
But not just that.
Yeah, it is a chance. No, you're right. It is a chance. It is a chance.
That's what I'm trying to say, basically. A massive chance.
But it's a chance with every player. Every player you bring in, it's 50-50 when they're going to work out or not.
Worth taking. I think with kids,
100%.
It's not 50-50, Dan. Not at all. Would you give a player more chance of working?
But Dan, his shot stopping yesterday, mate. He made 3 close range saves.
Disputing none
that
of
were
that.
Brilliant.
I'm not reaction.
So he's got shot stopping in his locker as well.
So when I can only judge someone by 12 games,
he can play with his feet. Hold on, Dan. He's got distribution. He can play with his feet. He comes off his line for corner kicks and set pieces, and he can shot stop. He's got everything other than experience.
Is there not an argument?
It's very easy to have a burst of play. It's very easy to look good in patches of play for 10 games, and then all of a sudden you don't know what's happened for the next 30 games. What would you rather have still as a player in any position? Would you rather go for that player who's played 10 or 12 games in a big league, nothing more in any other big league in the world, just 12 games in your league, that has potential? You can see there is potential there. You can see looks pretty good and everything and that. Or would you rather go for that player who's been 5 years in a big league and done significantly very good every season? What would you rather have as a manager?
I want a player that suits the system that we play, that works to the way we want to play. This is where Tottenham have gone wrong over the years. We've tried to sign players based on data rather than, like Solanke scores 19 goals for Bournemouth. Right, the data says he's had a good season, sign him. But does he suit the way we play? Is he going to do what we do? Because we're not going to play like Bournemouth. We're going to play different. It doesn't work, does it? I just feel Tottenham have got to start signing players that are going to suit. Hasn't this been our argument all along, guys, for the last 5 years? Can we just give the players the manager wants for the way the manager wants to play? Can we just do that for once? And I actually believe.
But we can still question it.
We can, of course, we can. But I personally believe Kinski suits the Zerbi. I think it genuinely suits him.
I hope so.
Oh, not just that, right?
Is the pudding in the eating, right? At the end of the day, they've made the decision that he's the number one, right? So this is on Zerbi now, right? He's made the decision.
Is there not an argument, guys, to say that the sample size we've seen of Kinski in the last sort of 10 games, right, especially back end of last season, and it is more than what we've seen of someone like who Dan wants in the Premier League, right? And not only that, you've got to remember, Dan, his name's Sevilla or Roma, the keeper.
Spiller.
Yeah, him.
No, he's quality keeper. But look, this is number one.
And look how many subs was in that game yesterday. They nearly subbed every player on the bloody pitch.
But what I'm saying is,
it's irrelevant.
But what I'm saying is, in the Premier League, right? For what we saw at the back end of last season, you're coming into a very, very pressurized environment, right? You're on the verge of, like, you're in a relegation battle. There is no more pressurized environment for Tottenham being in that place, and for him to perform at the level that he did, right? For a young keeper, is very, very good.
Okay, so Dan, is it? Are we taking a chance with Kinski?
I think you're both right. I think Danny is well within his rights to be querying this, because it is off the basis of 7 Premier League games.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, they've made their choice. This is the number one. What we can't then do is, if we get into the season, people start then complaining, why didn't Enid buy a goalkeeper? Because everyone likes this move. So at the end of the day, I think we all hope the same thing, right? We all hope the same thing, that he goes in and he has a brilliant year and we go, cool, there's our number one for years to come. I think we all hope that. But there is still an element of risk, and it's not about the Atletico Madrid game. I thought all of the nonsense after the Atletico Madrid game was ridiculous. His career's over. We're never going to see it. Oh, hang on. He's had a bad 20 minutes. What we're talking about, his career's over. But it is off the back of 7 good games. So I think both arguments are right. For me, though, the biggest issue at this football club is not in goal right now. The biggest issue is in the forward areas. Right? That is not going to change. And I know, like Stel said earlier, that's what we're going to talk about until that window shuts. That is the biggest thing for me. But I just hope the moment Kinski makes a mistake, that people don't do that thing they do, where they put someone on a pedestal and then
they will
absolutely tear him the fuck down because he's made a mistake.
What happens, Savva, is if he goes and has 5 bad games, you will have people sitting there like me saying, I really don't think he was quite ready yet to be a number 1 goalkeeper. Number 2, I agree. And then you're going to have also people come down it like a ton of bricks. And then you're going to have people going on and on and on like they did with Archie Gray and Tell and everyone else. Yes, but he's young. He deserves a chance. Come on, he's had 5 good games. He deserves... Well, what do you want? Do you want a proven player that you are 80% sure that will improve this team? Or do you want to take a massive chance on a hit and miss that's had 5 good games? It's just the way I see it.
It also goes back to Savva's point about we can't do everything in one window.
I agree with that, but I'm still allowed to have my red flag on a certain position.
But
am I not?
Of course. Kinski's going to make mistakes. Okay,
every keeper does.
100%.
Yeah, Raya Arsenal. Some of his distribution out of the back under pressure at times is shocking. But Arsenal, they've gotten away with it. For me, what I don't want us to do is when he does make a mistake, we jump on him. Right? I told you, there you go. If he does it
works both ways still.
Right? If he does it regularly,
it works both ways.
If he does it regularly, then like when Romero regularly does rash things. There's a pattern.
It works both ways, right? Like for me, I think with the Kinski thing, cool. He's our number 1. Would I, at the beginning of the window, would I have said I want a new number 1? Absolutely. They've made the decision. He's the number 1. He's playing. Cool. We move on. Every time he makes a mistake, it's got to be made sure that people like me, who were questioning it, don't go, there you go, he's made a mistake. And on the flip side, the people that want him as number 1 don't suddenly go, this is shit, Enoch didn't buy it. Because still the same people now saying he's our number 1, he's brilliant. So many of them, they were the ones that lost their minds and threw their toys out the pram after Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid, I didn't say anything. After that, I just went, God, he's had a mare. He's had a mare of a game.
Yeah,
but
same here.
Career's over. He's got to be sold. He's shit. Some of you wanted him over Vicario. 7 games later, it's this guy's brilliant. And that sums up our fan base for me, that there's no happy medium, right? It can't be, all right, he did well at the back end. Let's see how he
And
does.
so easy to change their mind as well.
He's fucking
I
brilliant,
was angry.
Shit.
I was angry that he got thrown. I was angry that he got thrown into that game. I thought it was wrong to start him in that game. I was against Kinski starting that game. That's what wound me up. I thought, why would you? The guy hasn't played all season, and the hardest game that we're about to play, you're going to chuck him in. Away at Athletic.
Tudor was a joke anyway. Tudor was a fucking disgrace.
Tudor was shocking.
Again, people seem to think that when you don't necessarily rate a player or don't think he's your first choice, that you hate, you despise him, that you wish death on him as such. Well,
yeah.
It's not like that.
You can't just not rate a player, Dan. You've got to
exactly.
For me, hate him. There's an agenda.
Yeah.
What
you know what I mean? I've got to go and get the Christ cross and turn it upside down with him. Yeah. It's the fact for me is, I'm sorry, you ain't changing my mind over 5 games. You ain't changing my mind over 7 games. Now give me half a season. He does well. I think anyone can vouch me on here. I'll be one of the first audience saying, do you know what? Fair play, fella, you got it wrong. I ain't going to judge him on 1 game or 2 games. I'm going to pick him up when he screws up on moments, same as I have done any other player, even when they've played well. Same as I've even bigged up players like Johnson when he got absolutely slammed to the floor and then went and scored 5 goals on the trot. And I said, I still think the player's crap, but fair play for him for what he's done. Kinski, for me, has done nothing to prove he is ready to be an established number 1 Premier League goalkeeper for where we're wanting to progress that much.
You know the key word there, Dan?
Number two for me, I'm happy with that.
Established is the key word. Has he done enough to show that he's the best keeper at Tottenham? You could say, well, Vicario's not been good. Cool. Has he established himself as a Premier League number 1? No, but you know what? No. That's the next thing for him to do. The next thing for him to do now is, and why would we not want him to be brilliant? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong.
Worth £100 million.
I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong about Tell as well. But I'm sorry, I do not change my opinion on a goalkeeper in 7 games.
I don't change my opinion on any player in 7 games.
Yeah, exactly. Because anyone can have a purple patch and all. Richie, how many times has he had a purple patch and all of a sudden people have got totally wet over it, completely to the point of a snail trail? And yes, manager's going to do it. The manager's going to smash it. The manager's got it right. And
most of the fucking fans.
Bang, there you go. He falls off a bloody cliff again.
When I say I won't have my mind changed over 7 games, the problem is I didn't not like Kinski. I've never been someone who's gone, he's shit, why do we sign him?
No, same.
I've always been someone that's like, okay, I haven't really seen enough of him. Is he good enough? He gets the game against Atletico and everyone just lost their fucking mind. And then now they've lost their mind, but the other way. And I think I'm in the middle. I'm like, okay, here's your chance. This is your year. Don't let the Bravka take your place, because if at any point the Bravka takes his place, you know he's not been good. Show us. And then, you know what? This means next summer, lads, none of us have to sit here and go, we need a number 1. We go,
yeah, exactly.
Kinski's the number 1. You've saved yourself 50 million.
I can see that. But I think one thing that is proven fact, and I think this one is a fact, is that anybody knows that any solid team out there has always, any quality team out there has always had a quality goalkeeper that can save them 10 to 15 points a season. Now, if we ain't getting that up front with those 10, 15 points, but we can save it at the back with maybe 10 points because of a better defence, better midfield, and a good quality goalkeeper, which is just as important as a striker to me, doesn't that make sense as well? Because if it ends up for the first 6 months that he really ain't as good as people think, because a lot of people seem to think he's world-class over bloody 5 games, then all of a sudden we've basically screwed up our season.
He's better than world-class, mate.
Then we've basically screwed up our season and missed out on 10 points. Those 10 points could have got us in Europe last season if we'd have had a more established goalkeeper. You can say it's all ifs, buts and maybes, but there's about 3 or 4 goalkeepers I can point out there that have been playing for 4 or 5 years and have been established and been playing well for that time. I'm talking about Kinski, who has only just played double figures in Premier League games and had 5 worthy games out of it that people noticed, because the others he played, he got replaced straight away every game. So I'm just having questions on a player that I really haven't seen much of, that isn't established, that has had a purple patch moment, and let's just hope this purple patch turns into a quality player. But me personally, it sort of defeats the object of when people say, I want established players, I want quality players. I don't want Tell there because Tell hasn't done it. Tell's not established. Oh, but because Kinksky has had 5 good games, he deserves the chance, and everyone turns a blind eye to anything. I'm sorry, it sort of contradicts itself.
Do you know what it is though? This is why I double down on the Kinksky, my Kinksky, not love, but why I defend him. When I watch Kinksky play, I see a player that totally suits what we're trying to do. When I watch Tell, he doesn't suit what we do because he doesn't score, and he just doesn't create enough. So I think how is it going to work with you? Whereas Kinksky, I can see how it works. By the way, when we talk about agendas, I've only got 2 agendas. One, I want Ben Davies out of this club because as long as he's here, I just think the poison hasn't left. And the other agenda I've got is Danzo. I'll say it again. He is technically incompetent and he's going to get found out playing the Zerbi ball. He is a buffoon at the back playing this kind of football. He's not going to suit this football at all.
You're worried about 2 players that are hardly going to get any minutes playing once a week. I wouldn't worry about it still, honestly.
Savva, do you know what my worry is? I don't know how we do it as a club, but we always seem to find a way where they come on the pitch and they get a little run. They always seem to, at some point in the season, whether it's an injury crisis or international duty,
I want
something
Ben Davies to get a 5-year contract. I want another 5-year contract.
No.
Just to sell.
If everyone watching this show, right, who hates my guts, wants me cancelled, write a letter to Spurs to give Ben Davies a 5-year contract because that will cancel me. I will cancel myself.
Let me do some super chats and we come back to that. By the way, I don't want Ben Davies to have another 5-year contract.
That's my kryptonite.
Let's have a look. Okay, big up to Tony Rodriguez. Very generous with the old Swedish Corona there. Thank you so much, buddy. Really appreciate you, Tony. Always in the chat. Always has been really good to me. So thank you very much. And if that wasn't enough, he's coming again. Thanks so much, Tony. You are very, very generous and we appreciate you massively. Big up to Ian JD, 19 months of being a member. Says big up to Savva. We need to bring youth players into a winning squad surrounded by experienced quality players. It's the only way they can achieve success. I just think it makes it a lot easier if you bring youth players into a settled team. And I do think Zerbi will do that. Zerbi's done that his entire career. He's not afraid to play young players. He's proved that over and over again. I'm not worried. I think the right youngsters, I think, will come through under Zerbi. Big up to you, my man. Big up to the 2 Mark show. How you doing, Cookie? It's a great stuff as always, mate. Really appreciate you. 32 months. Big up, Mark. Good to see your channel flying as well. Really appreciate you and the other Mark. Big up to Tony Rodriguez again. 35 months as a member. He said, do you guys trust Kinksky for this season? Well, I think we've just had that. Chat, Tony. We just had that chat. It's in his hands, right? He's the number 1. It's his to lose, right?
The last I mentioned on it, Savva, is does everybody agree that we are taking a big chance?
I don't think it's a big chance, but we are putting in someone who's not an established Premier League goalkeeper, who's not an established goalkeeper at all.
Fair enough.
But
I agree with that.
He's got the gloves, right? He's got the gloves.
Mm-hmm.
It's his to lose. So
I believe if you're going to take chances, do them in the first couple of years of the project, because when we get back to being top 4 regularly, then I don't want to take chances. Then I want at least.
That's a fair point.
I'm with you there.
Take chances now if we're going to do it.
No, fair point. I can go with that. Yeah, fair point.
Let me go to this. So Simon has said, Amin Gouiri, top striker, 28 million. This is the lad's Algerian, plays for, I want to say Marseille. Is that right? Don't know enough about him to say.
No, I don't
know. Does anyone know enough about Gouiri to formulate an opinion?
No, unfortunately not.
I don't know enough about him. I'll go and have a look. Hang on, let me have a look now.
Do you know Phil? Do you know him?
Here you go. So last year he got 8 goals in 22 games for Marseille. The year before he got 10 in 14. I don't know. I don't know enough about him as a footballer. I don't know anything about this lad at all. But I'll take your word for it, and I'll go and have a look at him. Really appreciate that. Big up to Andy Lester. Said your face yesterday when Sean was talking about how good Tellers was funny. I looked like it was causing you physical pain. No, look. I each to their own. As I've always said, right? I would love a player like Tell to win me over. I would. I'd love any Tottenham player that I don't rate to win me over because they're playing for Tottenham. Yeah. I think the thing for me, Andy, is I think what we've done is I think we've doubled down. Everyone's doubling down as though this guy is banging in goals for fun, creating for fun. I see a guy with moments. As I said, I think he's very good with the dead balls. I think he's got a lovely cross on him. The free kick he scored the other day was lovely. He's just not for me at the moment. If he was winger number 2, maybe, but it's not a big thing. I just think I've never seen so much conversation about such an average footballer in my life from everybody. Like everybody seems to be talking about this guy, and I personally just don't see it. But you know what, Andy? It's just my football opinion. Do you know what I mean? That's all it is. It's just I just don't particularly rate him. If
Savva, you're not allowed that opinion. You should go support Arsenal, mate.
I know.
He hasn't. Tell hasn't done enough consistently. He hasn't done enough consistently to prove to you that he is ready to be our left winger.
Yeah, listen. When I watched it, but Bayern Munich, I never really thought a lot about him. The 18 months I've seen him at Tottenham, I've not really seen anything that makes me go, yeah, you're really, really good. I think the problem we have, and this again, I'll stress this is no one else's view other than mine, is that I think our standards have become so low because of what we've been watching that we're now trying to make very average players a lot better than what they are. That's only my problem. I think we've done it for years with Sarr, with Gray, with Bergval. I think we do it with Spence. I think we've done it with Adogi. We did it with Akari. For me, John, thank you so much, Smokey boy. Really appreciate you, my man. Said Aperol by the pool. God, check you out on holiday again, Smokey boy. Said Sun and Savva, the sensible fhtv. What a great holiday Sunday. Savinho and Vlahovic in, and Solanke on a final written warning. John, I think it's interesting. I think we know Savio's kind of getting done. I feel like that's happening. Vlahovic is a really interesting one. For me, I'm going to remove your comment just because I can't see me and Stel, but thank you so much, John. For me, I think that Vlahovic is, a few years ago when watching Vlahovic, I think like most of the world, I was like, wow, you're on it. You're
at Fiorentina.
Yeah. Now, again, I feel a little bit like I do with Savio with him. For me, the way Juve play as a football club, for me, was never going to suit Vlahovic. The way in which they build up quite slowly. However, it's been a few years now, so I don't know. Is he good enough? The question I'm asking, is he better than Solanke and Richie? What do you guys make of Dusan Vlahovic?
He's been worse than Richie for 2 seasons running. He's had heavy injuries. He does have a bit of an attitude of like, well, I expect a hell of a lot of money sort of thing, but he's in that sort of position at the moment where he would have to take a major pay cut if he wanted to play football. At Fiorentina, he stood out and he was excellent. But then you've got to remember, Fiorentina are not a big team. He went to Juventus, had a good season, and then from there it just started going downhill. Maybe you're right, Savva. Maybe it's down to the way they play football for him. Like we said, certain players can only play a certain style of football, whereas others are more adaptable. Vlahovic also would be a gamble if we're going to spend significant money on him, because over the past 2 years he's been shit. If I'm going to be honest, I've seen him play plenty of times. He has been shit. Not even okay. He has been shit. But
not only that,
the crap we have got up front, then do you know what? Get rid of Richie and take that gamble with him, basically.
I'm not sure I would. I would rather take the gamble on Richie again, because you know at least Richie's going to get you 10, 12 goals in the season, right?
You know what?
And
point. Yeah.
Not just that. I know I know Vlahovic is very strong, and he probably would suit the Premier League physically. But if you look at De Zerbi, how he wants to play, he wants players that press, right? And if you look at Vlahovic's stats, especially in the last 2 years, he is one of the worst pressers for a forward, right? He does not press. And that I don't think suits De Zerbi at all.
I agree with that.
To be honest.
He likes to stand there and just have the ball come to his feet or head, basically. That's
and
he's basically a target man.
Do you know, I did a video on Vlahovic and I looked into everything. And for me, the biggest problem he had at Juve was the way Juve play was completely different to the strengths that he has. And that's why it worked so well for him at Fiorentina. Then he had injuries at Juve, which stifled him. And that's the biggest issue. However, I wouldn't take him for one reason only. I think any attacker at Spurs has got to have two qualities. Be able to score goals, and they must be able to press. You saw against Chelsea, our goal came from pressing.
Yeah.
He is terrible at pressing. He can be, he's awful at it. So, not awful, but he's just not good. And I think that will not suit our system. It just won't work. And for that reason, I wouldn't take him. I think the way we play will better suit him, but his pressing game's poor. It's really poor.
Who do you think in the Premier League style do you think he would suit? What team do you think he'd suit? Like, what kind of style?
Arsenal.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Arsenal?
Yeah.
What, more than Gyökeres?
Arsenal they're not a pressing team. They drop deep and they press from the halfway line. They're not. We're aggressive in the final. Mate, our pressing in the final third is fantastic right now. I know it's pre-season, but
it's like the Poch days. It reminds you of the Poch days.
I think it's
the way he wants to play. Yeah.
See, I think he'd suit like a Crystal Palace type.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Looking at his
Forest,
goals.
Nottingham Forest.
Looking at his goals record.
Yeah.
Forest, yeah.
I mean, 20 in 24 at Fiorentina that last season. 21 in 40 the year before. Good numbers. Then 9 in 21 is good numbers. 18 in 38 is good numbers. You know, he can definitely score goals. I think we know he can score. I just think there's too much of the other stuff, right? That I can't see Spurs going for him at all. I just can't.
Would you guys be happy if we went for him? That's another question.
Do you know what?
I'd just be happy that it's not Richie or Solanke, if I'm brutally honest. I don't want to watch these two up front anymore, lads. I don't.
I know.
Do you know what I don't want us to do? We signed Savio and Vlahovic, and we hope we're signing the players from 3 years ago with 2 players. I don't mind doing it with one, but not 2. I don't want us to, I hope we get Savio from Girona. I hope we get Vlahovic from Fiorentina. I don't want to do that with every.
I think the difference is, though, Savio's used to playing in a pressing team with that work rate, right? Like, that's the difference. I think Vlahovic has not ever had that to his game. I think Vlahovic would be the perfect player for, if we're going back a decade or so, more than a decade, when you had the big man, little man. Like when you had a Crouch and Defoe, I think Vlahovic would be perfect.
4-4-2 system, you mean?
Yeah, I think he'd be perfect in that, where you got 2 wingers who are getting the ball in. He can knock it down to the little guy, or he can hold it up and bring him in. I agree. I agree with Stel in terms of, and you, Danny. I think that the pressing is going to be an issue, but I think if we want. You may have to sacrifice a little bit of pressing, depending on who the forward is you bring. I don't, unless we think the perfect player exists that press, scores goals, technically good. It's going to be interesting.
The problem is, Savva, if you sacrifice the press, it
not completely. It
acts as a trigger for the rest. So it's almost like
I get it. I get it.
Do you know what? It's a real shame. It's a real fucking shame we didn't get Krupi over the line, because he
I agree.
I think Krupi would have actually suited exactly what we want to do.
I heard they
100%.
wanted 120 for him.
Yeah, we're not paying that, are we? No,
And,
no one's
and,
paying
and
that.
to be fair, as much as I'll have a go at Tottenham Hotspur, if I was quoted 120 million for a guy who's made 21 Premier League starts, I would also say, listen, I like him.
Yeah.
I think he's a lovely little footballer, but I'm telling you, if we go and scout, you go to the German league, the French league, the Spanish league, the Belgian league, you will find these players out there. You will find Krupi.
Well, where did they find him from? They found him from League 2 in France, didn't they?
This is the point, Danny. How are Bournemouth finding him and we don't? Right? That's got to be the question we ask ourselves.
Which is why
Pinto. I want Pinto as our director of football. He's class.
I said that last season, mate. Do you know one thing
he did?
So Chris Ramsey, who for me was the best academy coach we had. I spent 2 hours with him. I learned more in 2 hours there than a year with others. Elite.
Is Chris Ramsey still there still, or is he gone?
No. So he's the one that helped. Well, he developed Kane. He left when Sherwood became manager because he made a mistake becoming assistant manager of the first team. He should have stayed in the academy because he was fantastic. He then went to QPR, became their academy director. And who did they produce? Elise, Chris Ramsey. He's at it again. He's now back at Spurs as our international scout. He's our head of international scouting, yeah. And do you know why that's good?
That's a good move.
It's not that he's got an eye for a player. He can look at a player and see how they've been coached. And that is gold. Having a coach as the scout, a top coach as a scout, he can look at a player and say, right, I know exactly how you've been coached, what your strengths are, and what we need to improve on. So his report that he submits to the club will be so damn good compared to your average scout. Because a lot of scouts, they just go through what's called talent ID. Like, I became a scout for a bit. You just do talent ID courses. But he's actually done the job of developing players. So when he scouts, it's a different set of eyes. So that's a brilliant thing that Spurs have done to get him in as the international.
When did they get him back, Stel? Sorry, when did they get him back? Was it this season?
It was recently.
So
I'll tell you now.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question for all of you then? Right, and this might be a bit of a thing that people might not unpopular opinion, but then isn't there an argument then to say that Vinay and Land are doing a good job because they're Vinay and the board are doing a good job because they're restructuring and bringing in the right people to do their job properly, to allow them to do their job properly. Like if they're bringing in back players like people like Chris Ramsey, then I've heard that they've got some top new medical people in, they've got some new scouts in, they've got new staff in, they've got a manager in, they're bringing in the right players. Is there not an argument to say they're trying to bring in the best of the best to become the best?
They are. It's just I think the problem is, Danny, is we're very impatient. With reason, we're impatient, right? With reason, we're impatient. But I think if we are having this total reset, there will be things that we will not see the fruit of their labor for a long time. And that is why I truly believe that. I think what Dan said, I think it was you, Danny, that said, like, this is why this summer going for the Premier League proven so that they come in, hit the ground running. I don't think that's going to be the plan long term, but then we'll see the labor of our recruitment, our scouting. That's going to, that's what they've got to work on with Zerbi. We'll see that. Look, none of us know, right? Spurs fans, if we don't win 5 of the first 7 games, everyone's going to be in a bloody meltdown anyway, aren't they? And but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Tottenham right now. I genuinely don't know how I feel. But I'm going to show you a few players, guys. I'm going to show you a few players, all right? So this would be, for me, 3, I would say 2 risks and 1 that I think is a cert. These are the 3 forwards that I would look at across Europe. I know we're not looking across Europe. So my first one would be, this guy for me is an absolute no-brainer. This is Pavlidis of Benfica. This guy scores
as well.
Yeah, this guy scores goals. He's big, he's strong, he holds the ball up, plays off of both feet, and he's good in the air. Right? I would look at that people will go, "Oh, it's the Dutch league, the Portuguese league," but these numbers are serious every year.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a lot.
In the last 5 seasons, he's only scored less than 25 once.
Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy.
About him a lot as well.
Yeah, he does.
If not, hang on, let's have a look at this one. Share screen. I like this guy. Whenever I've watched this guy play,
Is Pavlidis a quick player, Savva?
he's not rapid. He's a big centre forward, but he's not the slowest player in the world. But
He can get about. He can get about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Panicelli from Strasbourg, who's 23. Last couple of seasons, I've been watching him more and more and more. Watching him at Strasbourg, really like him as a technical player as well. I'm just putting out there as an option. I think he's really good. And the last one is we were talking about earlier about Jonathan Burkhart. So this is Jonathan Burkhart. So last season he got 19 in 30, playing for Mainz. 15 in 29 playing for Frankfurt. The year before that, he got 19 in 30 playing for Mainz. So he's had a couple of good years back to back in the Bundesliga. And that's why when people tell me there's no players, I think there are. There are players out there. It's just, what is it we're looking for? Are we scouting them? And these 3 I've just mentioned, these are proper number 9s. So I'll ask you boys the question: does Zerbi want an out-and-out number 9? Has he ever really played with that focal point up top?
Honestly, we don't even necessarily know what formation he's significantly going to use yet. I mean, it looks like a 4-2-3, 4-2-3-1 that he's going to use, but again, I'm not 100% sure what he's going to do yet. Maybe he might have to change his ideas a little bit, depending to what other players we get in. I just don't know. I mean, with the players you said there, that's all good them doing that in that league, but then the question is, can they do it in the Premier League? We all know it's a chance, but then the scout's job, I would have thought, is to find these players and then also assess the player on whether the scout thinks he would actually make it over into the Premier League. That's the scout's job, isn't it? Not just to say, well, he scored 20 goals that season, we should get him. Well, okay, he scored 20 goals in a significantly lower standard league than the Premier League, which is the biggest league in the world. But then that is down to the scout as well to say, right, I've seen him do this and this. He does it A, B, C, D. I think he would work perfect for the system over here because he can do A, B, C, D. That is what the scout does. Not just say he scores 20 goals, isn't it? It's easy for any of us to bring that up and say, well, we should go for him. He scored 20 goals. It's the scout's job now to say whether he think he could adapt to the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what's funny. Yeah. Everyone has not stopped talking about Osman now because of this one random report.
Stupid.
Like, one report goes out and then everyone just latches onto Osman.
Stupid.
A player I would love to get.
I've seen it in so many chats as well. I'm like, people just like not living in reality. I mean, there's Tottenham going for players, and then there's that.
Yeah,
it's another one. I wouldn't say it's impossible. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I don't see it happening.
Why do you think it's not? Why do you think it is slightly possible?
One, because money talks, and also if he's got the mentality of playing in the best league in the world. Plus, countries can have pulling power on you. Areas can have pulling power on you. There's all loads of different things, and different people have got different mentalities, different minds, play football for different reasons. Some people do it because they love it, not as many as used to. Some people do it as a bloody job. There's reasons it could happen, but the odds of it happening are definitely less than the odds of it not happening, basically. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I don't see it happening personally.
I can't see that guy.
If you don't try, Dan, if you don't try, you don't get. So you at least give it a try. He tells you no. You go on to the next one on your list, basically. That's why you're meant to have a list of 2, 3, 4, 5 there, isn't it? And like I said, if you don't try for something in life, you don't get.
I blame Sean Butler, right? He's created this silly hype. No. I message him and I tell him the same thing. He's created this tell hype. Him alone driving this bloody nonsense. And today, his Osherman bomber videos, right? He's driving it, right? He's causing it. And I've said to him, I've demanded that he and I do a live this week, because I'm calling it out. But, you know, right? So hopefully we can do a live. We can talk about this. Osherman's not coming to Spurs. Where are we going to muster 400 grand a week, guys? Where are we going to get 400 grand a week? We're not.
It's not.
The thing
It's
is,
not happening.
if you pay Osherman 400 grand a week, hey, I want 400 grand a week, Gaffer. I want at least 300, and then the next guy that we sign. But you want me to play left wing, right wing for Tottenham and get you 15 goals, but he's on 400 grand a week. I want the same then. You know, it's impossible. It's not going to happen. I'd love Osherman. It's not going to happen, is it?
Imagine everybody upon contract renewal going, oh, what does your client want? He's on 100 right now. He wants 400, please.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't necessarily quite happen just like that, because it hasn't happened just like that when we've had other players come in now. How much is Tonali on? He's on 230,
No,
250.
But it will be driving the conversations for contract renewals. It absolutely will, right? Even with Tonali coming in on 280, 250, whatever he's on.
Yeah,
something like that.
You know, anybody, like, if they're having chats with Mickey van der Ven about a new contract, Mickey van der Ven's agent is not going to be
100%.
And
yeah, but Van der Ven isn't a good example. He should be on more than bloody already, and we know that.
He's
the exact example.
Because all of their agents will use that as an example to drive the price as high as they can. Not saying that Mickey van der Ven is going to want 280 grand a week, but every one of the agents is going to go, by the way, that's new contract renewals and new players joining. They're going to go, hang on, you've just given Osman 400k a week. My player plays for Barcelona. You're trying to buy him. We want 400k a week. So
no,
I do feel
that
like
one I can go with players that we bring in, but players that we've got, I really don't see that happening much, bar with one or two players, because no player in that team actually has a right to go and do that in the aspect.
Yeah,
they can go and moan about it, and that's where you can. No, but that's where you can say. That's when you can say when certain players do it.
Again,
let me finish on it. That's where I get all that, but that's where a lot of certain players could come in and say that, and you say, well, no, do you know what? Well, fuck off and go to another club. You'll be lucky if you get what we pay you, and that would be a high majority of our team.
Yeah, it doesn't quite.
With Van der Ven and that, I totally get that. Van der Ven should be getting more than bloody Archie Gray and that.
I'm not saying they're going to use it to go to that number, but they will use it to get whatever number they want, because they've seen that Spurs will. Listen, it's a difficult.
The way they've played, though, okay, go to another club and get paid more money. Then I'd like to see it happening, mate. Go on.
Yeah. The thing is as well.
How many he's going to be able to do that?
Yeah, but that's not how agents and clubs work when they're interacting with each other, right? Like, if Spurs are offering a new contract to a player, it's because they want to offer him a new contract, right? So now it's right. How do we make that player happy? And players are going, again, they're not all going to want 400 grand a week, but they're going to look and go, well, hang on, we've smashed the wage bill. I'm on 70. We got players here on 400. I want 200. I want 170.
Right. Well, go and earn it then. Go and earn it. Go and prove it. If not, piss off to another club and get paid more money. Simple as that.
It doesn't work like that, though.
It don't work like that. When the player, okay, we need to renew his contract on
with every
player,
you wouldn't have a squad. Like, you've got to remember, different players, different times. You might want to protect a player's value, so we don't want to sell you now. We'll sell you in 3 years, so we might need to pay you loads of salary. Look, I wouldn't want to pay Osman 400 grand. It's not my money.
It's stupid money.
But if we want to pay 400 grand a week for somebody, I'd want them to be an absolute fucking superstar. No, again, see, can we not do this? I hate it when people can't use their brains. This is absolutely not what I said at all. That please don't do this. This is not what I said at all. If you're so stupid that you can't grasp what I'm saying if a player, let's use a player like Mickey van der Ven. If Mickey van der Ven, I don't know, what's he on? 50 grand a week, 60 grand? I don't even know.
Something like that, yeah.
If he's looking at players coming in on 400, 300 grand a week, Mickey van der Ven's agent is going to go into that meeting and go,
100%.
I want 250 grand a week. Now, he might not get it, but they're going to go in and they're going to go with ridiculous numbers because.
But he's almost got the right to do it. Van der Ven is one who could do it.
Got the right to do it at all.
No, not for that much money. But Van der Ven has got the right to go out there and say, "I want more than Archie Gray." Yeah, I think we can all agree on that one. Yeah, but
of course.
Give me any other players out there that can really go up and bang on that door. Not players that we bring in, players that we've got that can bang on that door and say, "Right, you've just upped his money to this much. I want that much." What? Richie does that. Solanke does that. Tell does that. Even Madison. You go through this whole squad. Yeah, with bringing players in, I agree. With players we've got, you ain't going to get many with the capability of doing that because you can literally just say,
we're ripping up the squad.
Go and get it somewhere else then. And that half of them are lucky if they get bought.
I just meant in general, like we were told that the reason we turned down Leao was because he had outrageous wage demands. If that's the case, I can't see them going, okay, we won't do it for Leao, but we'll do it for Osimhen. It's just something you've got to be careful of, right? As fans, we'll sit here and go, just pay 400, 300 grand a week. It's just something the club do have to be mindful of who gets that money, how long's the contract. Because how old's Osimhen?
26, 27, I think, 26.
So you're going to put him on what, 5 year?
Yeah.
5 year
no,
contract?
Not 28, he's younger. He's younger.
Okay, so you're putting him on what, a 5 year contract at 300 grand a week? That's a lot of money. Like that's a huge amount of money. But by the
he's
way,
27. Sorry, 27, 28 this year.
By the way, it's just coming across Sky Sports News. I'm sure everyone's seen it that Lincoln are in talks to take Mason Melia on loan for the season in the Championship. So for anyone that wanted him as our number one striker, that's not going to happen.
The thing with Osimhen as well, right? People got to remember that when he went to Galatasaray, he was Chelsea were in for him, United were in for him, right?
Yeah.
And Saudi Arabia team were in for him, right? I remember the Saudi team. The links were that they were offering him close to 700 grand a week, 700 grand a week, right? And he turned it down because he wanted to stay in Europe and play Champions League football. And he didn't go at the time. Chelsea, I think, were in the Champions League, but he didn't choose Chelsea because Chelsea could nowhere near match the wages that he wanted, right? He wanted what he's on now, which is on 400 grand a week, right? But being in Turkey, it's tax is like next to nothing what he has to pay for tax, right? So if he comes to England, right, and he's on 400 grand a week, he's only going to get half that money. So he'll already be taking a 200, half his paycheck will be cut in half. So he's not doing that. He's just not doing that. Not at all.
That's when it shows a player's mentality, though. In that,
of course,
and I agree.
He don't care about winning.
Maybe
he cares about money.
Maybe he's got that many millions in his bank or whatever, and now he'd want to play in a top league, and take a bit of a pay cut for it. But the way you get round the pay cut as such is like, right, we ain't giving you 400 grand, but we give you 300 grand instead of 10 mil signing on. We give you 18 mil signing on, or whatever way they go and do it. There is ways round it that clubs like Chelsea and Man City have done it. Do I see it happening? No. Is it impossible? No.
Yeah, look, we know he scores goals, right? We look at that. We know he's got 173 and 297 games. Yeah, it's a great goal scoring record.
Yeah.
What I would say is, if I look down his league games, there's not many seasons where he's actually playing over 75% of the games, right? I don't know if that's just me. There's only one season where he's got over 30 games. So I don't listen. I'm just saying I can't see it happening. If Spurs go and get that done, great. I personally can't see it happening. We'll see. Look, guys, I'm going to wrap it up in a minute, and let me just do a super chat and then see if anyone's got any last thoughts. Big up to Sammy. Thank you very much, my friend. Also out in Sweden, says, I live in Sweden. Know Lucas and Dejan, youth coach, and was involved in the game as a youth coach. What's the latest on Lucas Bergvall? Well, look, first of all, thanks very much for your super chat. Really appreciate that. I don't know. From the noises Zerbi's made, it's almost as though, hey, I like Bergvall. I just can't guarantee him starts.
Minutes.
And that's the problem when you have one game a week, right? You can't guarantee many players' games. And let's be fair, you've not spent 190 million on Tonali and Fernandes for those boys to sit on a bench behind Lucas Bergvall, right? So
I think Bergvall. I think Tottenham are happy to keep him, right? If they get what they want for him, he'll go. whether or not a team is willing to pay, I think it's around £60 million is what I think Spurs are looking for him, which is a lot of money. And if that was to come in, even 50 million, I'd take it, right? For me.
Yes.
But if they don't, and no team wants to pay what Spurs want for him, then look, he's gonna get some minutes. He might not be happy with it, but he's gonna get some minutes this season. And then next season's a different story, because if we get back into Europe, you're gonna need someone like him.
Again, it's another one as well with Bergvall. For me, like 50 million is what you'd say you get for an average player these days, usually, unless you get some special deal or you go European as such. Bergvall has done nothing to prove that he's worth more than 25 million. Bergvall has been absolute shit. Let's be real. As all he's ever done is press up the pitch. He can't head the ball. He can't pass the ball. He can't cross the ball. He hardly ever shoots. He loses the ball consistently. He runs around like a headless chicken and you get absolutely nothing out of him. What has he actually done, or has anyone actually done to justify a 60 million for Bergvall? It's another hit and hope player. It's another player that, I've seen him pass a ball good once. I've seen him score a goal once. He could come good. He could do that. Bollock. He's been crap. The only thing he can do, if you bring up his stats, he's run forward with the ball and then he bloody loses it anyway. If we get offered 30 million for him, personally, I'd snap that right up, because you're making money on him and he has done nothing to justify that he would get into 15 of the Premier League teams in their first team, if not more than 15. What team would he actually start in, bar maybe Coventry or whatever? What team would buy him for 60 million as an official starter? Now, if we go and offer, say, 60, 70 million for Morgan Gibbs-White and then put Bergvall on top as a bit of an icing on a cake, now I could see that happening. But is he going to take Morgan Gibbs-White's place and do that? I don't see that happening. But I could see Forest accepting that, spending the money.
If Spurs pulled that off, Dan, Morgan Gibbs-White is perfect for this football team.
I agree.
Perfect.
You've got a much more complete player there than you have with Maddison, or than you have with, if you was to stick Gallagher there or Kudus there or whatever. Much more complete player overall. And maybe is that one way we could use Bergvall? Right, there's 60, 70 million. Have a little Bergvall on top of it and see what you can do with him.
A little Bergvall.
they might do it, like the cherry pie, the cherry on the top of the pie, isn't it? It might just be that little thing that pushes it that little bit further. But can anyone honestly justify to me that he is worth more than 30 million, realistically? Or tell me a Premier League team that he would start in, bar maybe the bottom four?
The weird thing is, there's a lot of teams that are interested in him. I think he would get into certain teams like Brighton, maybe. I don't know about Villa. Nottingham Forest, I think, would be the perfect place for him, to be honest.
Possibly.
Dan, Danny, do you know yesterday watching the game against Chelsea, but Bergvall was bang average, right? He was. That led to there.
He was.
Do you know what I saw though? More than anything, I saw a player that feels he's not wanted. Like he's playing as if you lot don't want me. That's how it came across. So he's not playing with that oomph, because at the back of his head he doesn't believe this is the club for him anymore. So and that came across in his play. So I think
he's playing. So he's playing like a spoilt little bitch then, still. Who's had enough time to justify getting in there, but hasn't done anything to justify that place, and now he's slapping the floor.
I don't disagree with what you said, except I think you put it a lot harsher than what I see. Right?
Fair enough.
I just think he's put yourself in his position. Mm-hmm. You're young. You've come to a club to grow your career. And suddenly the club is like saying, actually, we don't want you. We've made a mistake, maybe. So
because I haven't performed.
Or, well, nobody performed. Nobody performed at Tottenham in 2 years. So
fair point.
That's true.
If I was him, I'd be thinking, well, if you don't want me and I'm not part of your plans anymore, just ship me out. Why are you making me play pre-season?
I agree.
Why am I on this tour?
That's true.
You didn't take Sarr. You didn't take Romero, so why am I here then, guys? It's like we're teasing him. So in his, I kind of see it from his position. I just want the club now to sell him. I just want us to sell him and be done with it.
I mean, if you are Bergvall, you are looking at this club in the last 2-3 windows and going, right, so Bentancur signed a new contract. Conor Gallagher's been bought in. Tonali's been bought in. Fernandez has been bought in. Archie Gray is favoured over me and he's getting the captain's
Archie Gray's
armband
club
in.
captain at the moment.
Right. So you would be looking, but the thing is, I don't see it as him being a bitch. I see it as him. I would rate him more if he goes, oh, I think I'm good enough to go and play. I'm going to go and play. Right. Go and prove. But for me, I don't rate him. It doesn't mean, you know what will happen. He'll go to another club. First time he scores a goal, we'll get, oh my God, we miss Bergvall so much. You know, it'll be all that bollocks. But for me, I think Danny's right. Go to Forest. Like, go to Forest. Take Morgan Gibbs-White's place if Morgan Gibbs-White comes to us, and
perfect.
Cement yourself as a Premier League footballer. I just don't know what he is. I don't see him as a 10.
Do you know what it is, Savva?
I don't see him as an 8. I don't think he can take. He's not a 6. I don't know. I think
he needs to go.
Problem.
I think you're right. I think like if just say we were to get Gibbs White and he goes the other way, right? I think he needs to go into a team where he feels he can be like the main man. I think that's what he needs, right?
Yeah.
If you looked at him, exactly. Starting week in, week out, and he's the main man. I think with Bergvall, if you give him the week in, week out kind of performance in a position that he wants to play, which seems to be the number 8. No, but I'm talking about in his actual position he wants to play. I mean, and then you obviously a Forest team's a good team, right? And I think it's a more settled team than we are right now, currently, right? Or where we have been for the last 2 years, right? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he said he wanted to play in the double pivot, right? So that's exactly it. If he goes to like a Forest, then I think if you look at his performances at the club that we bought him from, he was like the main man. He was like the main man, and he elevated him to allow him to play with the confidence to have in his own ability. And I think he needs that, because I think when you go to a club like Tottenham, because of the turmoil that we've been in, there's so much pressure for a young player like that. It's very hard for him to prove what he could have proved. I think it was hard for any youngster to prove what they could have proved in the last 2 years, because there's so much fixation on our first 11, and
it's what we've said. The problem that we had was we bought Papa Sarr when he was 19, 18.
Too many youngsters,
and then 2 years later you're buying Gray and Bergvall, and it's kind of like, hang on, couldn't we have bought one and developed one? You've bought 3 of them, and
now they're your first 11.
And I don't know what any of those 3 are. Like, if I said to you right now, people can say he wants to play in double pivot. I would not want him in my 2-man midfield. I don't think he's good enough on the ball.
No chance. Yeah.
Gray, I think Gray is going to be the ultimate utility. I think Gray is Phil Neville. And people will laugh, right? Phil Neville had a fucking brilliant career, didn't he? Phil Neville's had a brilliant football career, right? I think he's Phil Neville. I think he can play either fullback. I think he could drop it to centre half if he needs to, in centre mid. But do I see him as being a guy that goes, I'm going to put Tonali or Fernandez on the bench? Not a chance.
A chance in hell.
And you got Bentancur as well, Gallagher. How are they all going to get minutes when you're playing 1 game a week?
You're right.
I think Bergvall's got to go for him.
You're right on that one. Out of them, I've said, and people know I don't rate Gray either. Yeah, he's the one I would actually keep out of them. Yes, there's the homegrown side of it as well.
Me too.
Sadly, you do need to have that homegrown player in there. Plus, I think Gray is more the one of a utility player that you could get out of.
He's not an awful player, Gray, either.
I just don't think he's good either. You know, I think he's below average. And he's done nothing to prove otherwise, bar 1 or 2 good games again. And, he has that great game, and all of a sudden, we've got Archie Gray, he's on fire.
I think he's an all right player. That's it.
No, I think he's all right. I think he's below. Personal opinion, Dan. He has done nothing to me he's done nothing to prove to me he is any more than he's below standards for a top 10 team. I mean, I don't see anything special in him. The thing I do see in him,
central midfield for any of the top.
No.
Do you know what? Let me compare this to Richie here, and people are going to say where you're going with this one. Richie, for me, has got a great mentality for a player. He wants to get it. He wants to do the job. He wants to do it. He wants to play 110% every game, but he just ain't got the capability of doing it. Simple as that. Whereas you get other players like we have with Ndombele, who's had all the capability, but the mental capability, he'd rather sit on the pitch and order a McDonald's than bloody play football. I think Gray has got the right mentality for it, and I think he's good enough to keep as a sort of utility player if we need him, and in a smaller league game or a smaller FA Cup game or League Cup game or whatever, or in a Conference League game and that. I do not think he's good enough for that Premier League for what we want to do in any means or manner. But I think you can get more out of him as a player than you can out. He's more useful as a player than Sarr, Bergvall, and that lot basically, and the other players we've got like that. That is why out of them, I would keep Gray over Odegaard, Tell, Bergvall, Sarr, because there is that little bit more he can be useful for if needed. But is he going to go and take Tonali's place? Don't make me laugh. Yeah, is he going to take? Is he going to take Fernandez place? Is he going to take Bentancur? You know, is he going to go and take Gallagher? No, he's bloody not. If he was that good, then why was it the second that Zerbi come in, he went out? Same as he did with the other younger ones, because he actually wanted us to stay up. Yet some will still justify that Gray is that good and he should be in the first team.
And I would say, look, I think Archie Gray, I think he'll have a good career. He'll have a good career. I think the problem he's got is he is a jack of all trades. I think he needs to find a club. I know he's not going anywhere, but and eventually settle on a position. But I look at it like this: when you watch Mateus Fernandes play and you watch him play, and they're a year apart in age.
Yeah.
Right? And that for me is, if we, again, I always bring this back to, if you're looking at standards, right? If we have ambition, that's the level. Mateus Fernandes is an £85 million midfielder who I watch. I'm a huge Fernandes fan, by the way. I watch him and I go, yeah, you can play.
Yeah, me too.
Archie Gray is miles off that, and only the year below. So, look, I agree. I think it will be Gray that stays. I think Sarr and Bergvall will go, but you can't keep them all. You can't go into the season with Gray, Bergvall, Sarr, Gallagher, Bentancur, Tonali, Fernand. Like, you can't keep them all. It's just not feasible. Yeah, I think this is going to be a big year for Fernandes, guys. I think if anybody hasn't watched too much of him, he's a proper midfielder.
I agree. I don't know enough about him.
He can play. His manipulation of the ball, his footwork, he owns it. Like when he's in that central midfield area, he's like, I'm the man, right? I like him. Waffles, you've asked this 95 times. Said Bergvall is 50 million midfielder. Why that valuation? Mate, look at this transfer market. I mean, gone are the days
Dan
when
said.
players for 10 million quid. So,
It's like the 10 million is the new 50 million now.
Yeah.
Well, 20 million is the new 50 million.
Yeah. And then you've got teams like Bournemouth going out. They've just bought the right back from Spain for 9 million. So you got a scout. You've got to have a few, right? You've got to have a few that come in, scout. Bournemouth will sell that right back probably for 40 million in a couple of years. That's what you got to do. But let me go to last super chat, and then I'm going to wrap up the show. Big up to Dean Law, always in with the super stickers. Thank you so much, Dean. Really do appreciate you. Guys, I guess it's another show we end with. Let's see what they do, right? I mean, I've been saying this for a month now. Let's see what they do. Show us the forwards. And we're still sitting here going, don't worry, the window's not shut yet. And it's like, you got 30 days of the window and 20 days until the Premier League starts. So let's see. Anything anyone wants to add?
Yeah, quickly. 2 weeks ago, I was saying, like I basically say most windows, so far so good. And I was actually getting a little bit hyped up, but still keeping it down. Okay, this is still Tottenham. But so far so good. Now 2 weeks are gone. I'm now a bit more anxious, as in still a good window, but what the hell are we going to do up front? Are we actually going to do something? So I'm starting to get that bit more anxious with it now. Whereas 2 weeks ago, it was so far so good and I was impressed.
I think that we're going to finish mid-table unless we sign some goal scorers. If we sign goal scorers, I do think we're going to challenge for top 6. Having said that, whatever we do, I do honestly believe, and I'm not just saying this, I actually believe De Zerbi's going to make us a top 4 team again over the next 2, 3, 4 years. We are going to become that top 4. We're going to be back to that Poch vibe. I just feel it. We're going to be that Poch team again one day. But what we do then, that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I want to know. Are we going to do what we did with Poch and just it fizzles out, or are we going to be different and go for it?
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
but I do believe Poch. I do believe De Zerbi will get us to that place, and the board will back him to get us at least there over the next 2, 3, 4 years. I do.
I
It's
don't
like
think
so-
that anybody's. You know what? I think this summer's really weird because it doesn't feel like any energy's on the manager because I think everyone's very comfortable, right, with De Zerbi as the manager.
Yeah.
This summer, I think it's more about what are we. But I agree with you. I think De Zerbi will get us back to those Poch times if we sign properly. But you just can't be having Poch times with players like Solanke and Richie up top. You can't.
And it's like what Stel said. It's like when we get to that stage where we are consistently like top 3, top 4 again, right? We don't want to then change the strategy and go, oh, actually, now we've got a good team. Let's go and get some youngsters because then it's never going to work, right? That's what I don't want to see. The strategy has to be quality until we win something. That's what it's got to be. With 1 or 2 youngsters, maybe.
Danny, it's got to be when we hypothetically Spurs get Champions League next year, right? Hypothetically, finish 4th, 5th, get Champions League. It has got to be that is another window where we go, right, how are we kicking on? Not,
let's go again.
Let's go and buy loads of 18-year-olds. Are we going to go and buy 4 or 5 more to fill out this squad of the Tonali, Fernandes, Van Hecker level? That's what I need to see from Tottenham. That's why when everybody constantly says change, 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 is it change because we nearly got relegated and they nearly lost like £2 billion? Or is this systemic change that we're going to see every summer now? No one can answer that for me until I see it next summer. And this summer, by the way. And this summer. We haven't finished.
I would argue our most important window is when we are that top 14. Because I looked at Arsenal this year, and I don't keep talking about them, but unfortunately, they are the best team.
It is what it is.
Benchmark. They are the blueprint at the moment. But you look at this summer, they said, right, we need to get it over the line. Eze, Hincapié, Zubimendi, Gyökeres. That is arguably one of their best windows that they've had, and it was the most important one. Our best window has to be when we are there knocking on the door. That's when we've got to blow it out of the water, because then I'll say, do you know what? This has got nothing to do with this has got nothing to do with the board. This is all on the manager now. Yeah. Now it's on the manager, and I've never been able to really fully, hand on my heart, blame the manager. Like, I can blame Ange a bit, I can blame Frank, I can blame Tudor, but the reality is the board let them all down as well. The board massively let all 3 managers down.
Whereas, I mean, how many times have we sat there saying these managers should never have even been picked for Spurs?
I want to be in a position where I can actually blame the manager. Where I can say, hold on, this is all on you. Like, everything is on you now. They've given you what you need. You know, they've given you what you need. Like, you can't show us what you got. So,
right, let's wrap up. Look, we move. We move. We see what we do in the next week. I mean, at some point though, we've got to stop saying what about don't worry next week, because you know what will happen. We'll bring them in, and then they won't get any pre-season, and then the excuse will shift to, oh, but they haven't had any chance to set.
Savva, I'm gonna say this, right? My last thing. We have to sign 2 attackers before the start of the season. We have to.
Agreed.
That's my last take. And if we don't, I think it is a little bit worrying.
If we don't, then the journalists in the press conference need to say, De Zerbi, at the start of August, you said about 60% done, big bombers coming. Can you explain that interview again? Because it doesn't add up. They need to change him on that.
I think they will sell. I think they will.
On a Mawani type.
Mate, come on. If we do that, it's going to be so deflating.
get a bit giddy because, you know, we need, I want, for me, it's about planning. Do you know what I mean? For me, ideally, I want the players on pre-season. If not, we've now got, what, 3 games until the season. Actually, it's 2 really, isn't it? Because 2 of the games are back-to-back on 2 days, aren't they? Am I right in saying we're playing Hoffenheim on the Saturday?
I think you're right. Yeah.
So there won't be. So we've got 2 friendlies essentially left, where any of these new players can get any sort of run out and learning how to play with Tonali and Fernandes, and it just feels a bit. Are we going to go in disjointed again? That's my worry.
Can I ask you guys one quick question before we wrap it up? Next season, regardless of who we bring in, whatever the squad is, the squad is. In your opinion, do you think De Zerbi should just totally focus on the league, focus on the cups, or focus on both? Do you think he should?
Both.
Yeah.
No Europe.
Both.
Yeah, no Europe. No Europe. There's no.
I'd love us to get a cup, even if it's a League Cup and a top 7 finish. That'd be a good season.
Depending what team we have, if he wants to get into Europe by getting a cup in there, if a cup comes in, great. But to me, cups are, even the FA Cup is just a little Mickey Mouse cup with what you get a bit these days, apart from getting in the Europa. It's not what it used to be. For me, I'd throw the cups aside, forget about that, and I would focus for a top 5 place and give it everything I've got to try and get up there, basically, or at least in an established place in the league where I know I'm going to get into the Europa League. The cups are a hit and, well, the FA Cup is the only other one that gets you in the Europa, so that's a hit and miss. Anything can go wrong on the day. At least over a league, you go over 38 games. Over a cup, you can all of a sudden lose to a League One team. Yes, it'd be nice to finish 8th and get a cup. Yes, I'd love it to do it that way. But me personally, I'd put the cups aside because they're just minors these days, and I would go for that top 5 place. Because if we get that top 5 place, we're then in the Champions League. We've got more money to spend. We can attract bigger players. Finishing 8th and getting a League Cup will not attract players. Finishing 8th and getting an FA Cup will not attract players. Nobody gives a shit about an FA Cup or a League Cup. They want to play in the Champions League. Champions League is bigger than cups, sadly, if you want your club to progress. Then when you're getting in the top 4 regular, you get a cup as well.
We're not in Europe. There should be no excuse to not do both. Like, there's no...
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, if Spurs put out a full-strength team in an FA Cup, we can't use the excuse that we're tired or finished lower in the league because we did that. We're not in Europe.
That's a fair point. I'd still be focusing. That's a fair point, but I'd still be having my full... If I'm in a situation where I've got to look at a cup or I've got to look at where I can finish in the league, I'm still going for a top 5 over a cup because I can progress the club further in a top 5 finish than I can with getting a little FA Cup or a League Cup.
I think the issue is there, Dan, is if we have the 3 more attackers or 2 more attackers come in, there is no reason why we can't challenge for a Champions League spot and win a trophy.
If we can do both, then brilliant. I just got asked what I would personally do, and that is 100% focus on that.
I think if they were gonna try and if it came down to resting a team for a semi-final in FA Cup because you had a Premier League game that was going to be the decider for finishing in the top 5 or not, getting Champions League football, then it's a different question, right? A different outcome. What you might have. For me, I agree with you on that point. I would say, yeah, maybe I'd want to focus on the Champions League because then next season in the summer we have a better pool of players that we can bring in, right?
Exactly.
But if we're not in that situation, then I'd want us to try and go for a trophy. I don't care if it's a League Cup or not.
Point.
Can you imagine
Because-
if the Zerbi goes into cup games when we're not in Europe and completely rests all his best players, the fans will go mad. Like
Yeah.
there's no I think the players would as well. I think the players will. They're already playing games. They want to play, right? Footballers want to play football.
He's trying to build a winning mentality is what he wants to build within this club, right? Not just the fans and the players and the staff. It's always everyone. That's what what Poch tried to do is instill this belief that it doesn't matter who you are, you can win any game. And I think that's what he's going to try and build.
I agree. If we're in a situation where you can blatantly see we ain't doing better than 7th or 8th, then go for the cups as well. But for me, if you can blatantly see that we have got a massive and we can actually pull this off because we're close enough to do it over the next 10 games that we can finish top 5, then to me the cups are just Mickey Mouse. They're nothing because Champions League gets you further. Champions League will attract players. Winning an FA Cup will not attract a big player. Nobody cares.
We're going to have to disagree on this because if the Zerbi does that, if the Zerbi completely threw games that late stage in the cup, what that shows to me is when he's talked about winning mentality, it doesn't actually mean anything.
Yeah.
I can
Like-
see where
That's
you're
what
coming
pissed me
from.
off about
You-
Poch.
I just
That's
got
what
to
pissed
ask
me off
what I
about
would do
Poch.
personally.
No. I'm just saying. I just
No.
don't get it when we're only playing one game a week. Like,
There'd be a
Yeah,
fan
yeah.
That is a
backlash.
fair
There'd
point.
be a fan
That is a
backlash if
fair
he does
point.
that.
yeah,
The fans ain't
will
going to
It's a
accept
fair
that.
point. It's a
Fans
fair
Fans ain't
point.
going to take that.
What
Fans
would you
are
be
gonna
happier with then? We finish 10th and we get a League Cup or an FA Cup, or we
I
get
never
in the
do
top
that
5
question.
and take
Should
it
be
from
both.
there?
If you're good
Yeah,
enough,
it should be both.
if you are good enough to finish 4th and 5th, like you saying we could,
Mhm.
then why have I got to compromise? If we're
Yeah,
saying
It's
yeah,
usually
yeah.
only top 4 because it's usually only top 4 teams that can pull that off. Usually,
Oh, Aston Villa did.
Aston
I'll
Aston
why
Villa
I
won the
said
Europa
usually.
League.
That's why I
I'll
said
answer your
usually.
question. Dan, I'll answer your question. With these attackers, we're getting none of that.
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah,
We're getting none of
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Come on, so
Yeah.
what about Solanke?
We're doing
Thing is,
shit.
what we want to do, we want to be in a position over the next few years where the squad
Can do both.
is good enough that we shouldn't worry
Yeah.
about, we've rotated 4 or 5. Like when Man City rotate 4 or 5 players for a cup game, no one's going, they've gone weak. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's going,
Look at Arsenal this season. They got to an FA Cup final, Champions League final, and they won the Premier League. That is a fucking amazing season.
didn't
Yeah,
they get
but look,
to 3,
even if
2 finals and a semi?
even if we get a striker, and a
Yeah,
left
2 finals
winger,
on the semi. Yeah.
even if we
Yeah.
get a striker and a left winger, we have still not got a squad there that you could say is capable of winning an FA Cup and finishing top 5. Because the drop
hang on.
at the top
How
is
did Aston
massive.
Villa? How did Aston Villa just do it then?
Yeah.
I'm not
They
saying
don't
it's
have the best,
impossible, but
strongest squad.
it's highly unlikely that it ever happens. It don't usually happen on percentage. You look at was Aston Villa's drop up front as big as ours would be from going from, say, for
Well, yeah,
instance, we
well,
get
they went
Savinho and
from-
whoever up front, and
Well, they
then
went
up front we
from-
go from there to Solanke or Richie, or we go to bloody Tell,
Yeah,
and we've
but
got nobody
the
on
thing
the
is,
right
if you're-
except Solomon.
But I'll ask the question. If you bring in a striker, let's just assume, just for argument's sake, the striker we bring in is Gakpo. Just for argument's sake, I don't care who, right?
Hmm.
Why does Gakpo need a rest for cup games if he's only playing once a week, playing every 8-9 days? Why does he need to rest in those games?
I wouldn't have thought they need to, but they do it.
Yeah, I just think like if we're going like one game a week, you bearing in mind it's normally like every 8 or 9 days. Like if you play Saturday one week, Monday the next, you've got an 8-9 day gap.
Depends
I
on
just
injuries
think-
as well, doesn't it?
No, of course it does. Yeah, of course it does. But listen, Villa were able to do both, and Villa don't have the deepest squad in the world.
No,
if you're
exactly.
honest.
Yeah.
So if you look at Villa's forward line, they've got from last year, Rodgers, Watkins, Marlon for half season until he went to Roma.
Yep.
Trying to think who else they got.
Was that young kid?
Leon
Was he-
Bailey was injured for quite a lot of it.
Yeah,
Leon Bailey,
wasn't there a young kid, Kamara or something? I'm not sure if that's the right one.
I don't know. Like, so look, for me, I think it's a blessing in disguise just for this 1 year that we're playing one game a week. And
I
think
agree.
I say go for the cups. Let's be fair. You could get drawn against Arsenal in the 3rd round.
Yeah, true.
And before you know it, you're out, right? But yeah, they did. Look,
Buendia. That was it, Buendia.
no, yeah. I mean, Buendia is more midfield, but yeah, like Tammy Abraham went there, didn't he? Sand, but there wasn't. Ollie Watkins played, right? When Ollie Watkins was fit, Ollie Watkins.
Abraham? Did they have Tammy Abraham?
Yeah, that's Tammy
Something?
Abraham. See, now
Yeah.
that's your perfect number 2 striker. Tammy Abraham.
Yeah.
Experience.
But we've got Richie and
homegrown.
Solanke.
Perfect.
If we can get
yeah.
top 8 and get a cup, excellent. I'm over the moon with it because that gets us in Europa. The league wouldn't have got us no better. But for me, it's Champions League is the priority because that's how you can build a squad, a team, a club. You can't build it on winning FA Cups unless you're finishing in top 4.
Back to
I
Stella's
think-
point. With these
I-
forwards,
I-
none of that's happening.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I think the manager's a big part of it, okay? Because I remember when we played Villa, Unai Emery, he did rotate players in now. It helped us. And he does have moments where he plays weaker teams because there's a
bigger game at hand.
focus.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the reason Villa got top 5, 4, whatever it is, and won the Europa this year is because they just got a very good manager. Like good managers, they get results. Unai Emery he's underrated, isn't he? Let's be honest. Unai Emery is an underrated manager.
I think he's really a good manager.
You know, when you've got those top managers like the Peps, the Klopps, and all that, I think he's the category below. Yeah, he's the one below that.
Look how many European trophies he's won still.
5? I know. It's unbelievable.
Is it 5?
Is it? Yeah, he's got Seville, Valencia.
He's done it 3 times with Seville, didn't he?
Seville, Villarreal, and now Aston Villa. And he got to the final with Arsenal as well. So yeah, he's a good manager. I think they had the right formula that worked for them with Watkins up top and the likes of McGinn.
Imagine if you think of the players that have left Villa the last 2 years. If Villa could have held on to them, mate, they would have been up there. You know, they would have been. They've lost some really good players. Really good players.
Still, that's why when people say to me, "Oh, Savva, you love Villa, or you love why haven't these clubs kicked on?" It is not easy to kick on when you are I put us in that. When you are a Spurs, a Villa, a Newcastle, we are still down the train. So it's still down the line on the food chain. So sometimes when you have a great season, it's almost bad because it puts your player in a shop window where you go, oh, fucking hell. Like when Bale had great seasons, we all went, oh, God. Like he's had such a good season. Someone's off, right? Villa have just had that with Ollie Watkins. Right, Yuri Tielemans. You're right. Still,
it's easier for us. It's easier for us to progress as a club. Quick example I'll give: go and take the 3 teams: Newcastle, Villa, Spurs. Exactly the same manager, exactly the same owners, exactly the same everything. It's easier for Spurs to progress than them. Why? Because football is about one main thing, same as everything these days: money. Spurs can pull in money that lot can't. It is actually easier for us to progress than Villa and Newcastle. Whether some say it's out of order, some say it's this and that. Well, go build your bloody stadium and then you can do it. Sadly, it is about money.
We've never done it.
That's
so
exactly.
Let's see us do it, right? Like we've never done it. Like if you look Aston Villa now,
with the money we have in and everything, we could do it if we had the right people want to do it. Basically,
absolutely. Like
easier than them too.
I mean, when people are saying things like we've got a far superior squad, I mean, I think we've got to just calm down a little bit, my man. Like this is a Villa team that for the last 4 years have finished above us and easily, and have got 2 Champions League finishes, 1 Europa League, and the season other than that they finished. Didn't they miss out on Champions League by 1 point? Not last year, the year before. So
something like that.
I feel like we've got to. It's not just about a superior squad as well. They've built what works for Emery.
Yeah,
they've built what works for them. Like players that I mean, how many times, Dan, I used to have that chat with that bloke Matt in the in the chat when I said, look at a John McGinn. Our fans would absolutely turn their noses up at him the way they do like a Conor Gallagher, but at Villa, he's the main man, right? Like he's the man that keeps it ticking over. He's the captain. He plays on the right, the left, the middle, and sometimes it's not about just having the better players on paper. Sometimes it's about building the right team.
Yep.
And right now, I look at our squad. Is our squad better than theirs with these forwards we've got? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure yet.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
So, yeah.
I think it's an argument for midfield, central midfield now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not bang average when you finish in the top 5 4 years in a row. I'm sorry, that just doesn't compute, my friend.
If that was true, doesn't that reconfirm that Unai Emery is even better than what we thought then? If that was true.
Well, goalkeeper, they're light years above us. Up front, they're better than us. In midfield, I think you can now argue we are possibly better than them. And that's only going by player at the moment, not how anyone's played. And in defence, I think you can argue 50-50.
Well, but the thing is,
in strike force and goalkeeper, they're significantly above us.
But the thing is, with all those things, is we're picking that off of signings we've made without having actually seen.
That's what I just said. I just said that.
Like if you look at the back,
I'm only going by player for player of what you would rate the player.
Like,
that's all.
Their
not
back
how they played together.
Settled, right? If you look at Cash, Konza, Torres, and it was Digne. It will just be Maatsen now.
Yeah.
That's a settled back four. What Spurs need to do, and quickly, is he's got to work out what's his settled back four. You ask any Spurs fan right now, everyone will tell you what the. Here you go. I'll ask. Right, I'll just do it on this panel. Only in your opinion, what's the best back four? You go. I'll go. Danny, then Stelios. What's the
Right
back four?
now? Right now at Spurs, probably Pedro Porro is the right back, Kingski is goalie, Van Heck and Van der Ven in the middle, and at left back, it's a toss-up really, that one. That's just hard to say. I think if he's fit, Adogi, but he's never fit. So if he's fit, Adogi, I'd say.
Dan, who would you put in? You.
Say that again.
Who would you put in? Not a toss-up. Who's your left back?
Adogi.
Okay, Danny, what's your back four if everyone's fit?
That's a good question on how I'd want to play as well. But I'd have their left back. From what I see on paper, I'd go for our two centre backs.
No. That's not. No. What's Spurs' back four when everyone's
Oh, right. Are you picking? Yeah.
I thought you was telling me to compare it to Villa.
No. Spurs' back four.
Well, it
could be back three if that's your preferred.
Yeah, but either way, our back four, it talks for itself. There's apart from one position, it's definitely going to be Porro on the right. I just hope we don't play him as a right back. Then centre backs, it's going to be Van Heck and Van der Ven. Left back, I would pick Spence over Adogi, and goalkeeper. Well, there's only one there, so
you and Dan both got a different. Still, what's your back four?
I'm going to base it on the way the Zerbi's going to play. So right now, I'd go Porro, Van Heck, Senesi, and Spence.
Oh yeah, that's quite good as well.
And I'm going to go with Porro, Van Heck, Senesi, Van der Ven. Right. So we have all picked.
You know, that wouldn't surprise me.
Four
I like it.
No, and this is the thing that this is what the Zerbi isn't for us, right? With he's got to sort out very quickly a settled back four. Right. And the problem you've now got is you've got Adogi, Van der Ven, and Robertson who all play left back. You've got
I didn't think of Robertson.
Van der Ven, Senesi, Van Hecker, so all play centre back. You've got Spence and Porro both play right back. Romero's still at the football club. So
I think Robertson is better than Adogi and Spence. I didn't think of Robertson. I'd rather play Robertson there than Spence or Adogi.
If Spence plays like he did in the World Cup, I'd take Spence at left back.
Robertson defensively suspect, man. He's suspect.
Yeah.
He's not the he was. Going forward, he surprised me. Actually. He put some good crosses.
He does.
Yeah.
Going forward, he actually looked
in that back
good
all day, every day.
Yeah. Senesi all day.
Yeah, I think maybe Senesi might be the better shout actually for the way he wants to play.
He's better than Mickey. So I know people are going to hate this. He's a better defender than Mickey Van der Ven.
Yeah, and probably. Yeah.
He's just not got the blistering pace of Mickey Van der Ven.
And Van der Ven has been a left back most of his career until he played in Germany the second season and came to Spurs. He'd done it for his country, all in the under-21s and that. I don't think Van der Ven is a bad shout for a left back. I think he's worth on that one.
Robertson excites me but scares me because going forward, he's still got really good crosses on him. He put 2 or 3 good. Look, pre-season when he's played, some of the crosses he's put in have been better than any of our wingers. Any of our wingers, they've been 100% on the money, right? And our attackers have just not finished. Defensively, though, he's making too many errors, and that's what happened to him at Liverpool the last year. So I think what we're going to see with Robertson is when we're on the attack, he's going to be one of our most influential players. When we're defending, someone's going to have to cover him because he's suspects. And I think that's what we're going to get with Robertson. Whereas Spence defensively, for me, is much better. But going forward, he's not Robertson, is he?
He's shit.
He's not Robertson.
Yeah.
He can't pass, he can't cross, he can't get in for a shot on that. Spence up front.
You could say the same with Porro. Going forward, he's a player. Defensively, we don't know what we're going to get.
It's true. It's true. I agree.
He's a 50-50 at defence, isn't he? Sometimes he's really good, sometimes he's just god-awful.
What we need is like a Danny Rose, because Rose was good at both. He was good at going forward, and he was good defensively. He had a bit of both in him.
Yeah, and Walker.
But Van der Ven, I like the idea of him at left back. But
so do I.
But in the World Cup, he just looks so bad at it. But that's just the World Cup. You know,
I have watched Van der Ven at left back for the Netherlands perform really good.
Under
No, not even that, Dan. I've watched I watched quite a bit of the Netherlands international games, and when I see him play at left back, there are a lot of times where he's pretty good. So I know the World Cup was when we saw him. That's his most recent performances at left back, and he wasn't really great. But let's be honest, the whole Netherlands team was shocking that World Cup.
Other thing is with Van der Ven is, can he pass and cross if you want your left back to get forward, or do you want him to just
he can pass and cross from left back. I've seen him do it a lot for the Netherlands. He can do it. That's why I've always said that I actually think that they could turn him into like a really good left back. I think it's a good shout for him.
What do you think he's better as a wing back?
Could maybe wing back, be a left winger? Could he be a left winger?
Yeah, I think so still. I think so still as well.
Was that asking too much? Is that a bit too?
No, like Gareth Bale style.
Yeah.
I think he's very good technically. Like from a. I mean, you can see his finishing is pretty good as well, and he can pass and cross the ball. He can strike a ball. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see him further up the field in certain games. I wouldn't be surprised. But you know what? I think that's what's going to be interesting to see, is because all four of us could not agree on a single same back four. None of us could. That's a crazy thing.
Savva's itching to go at this.
That damn right.
Savva's like,
I've just been working it out in the background, which is why I've been quiet. When people say stuff, please do some research first, right? So I'm going to ask you a question, right? I'll make a statement first. First of all, this wasn't a guy banging in 20 plus goals at Bournemouth. This is a guy who in 1 year got 19. Guys, anyone want to tell me in his career how many games it takes Solanke to score on average? He scores a goal every how many games?
5 games, maybe.
Right, and what about Watkins?
1 in 3.
Dan, still, I'm going to guess?
I don't know.
Listen, Watkins over Solanke every day of the week is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, of course.
I get that. I just find it hilarious. There are people that still don't get it, right? So Ollie Watkins averages a goal every 2.3 games in the Premier League, in his Premier League career, right?
Yeah.
And Dominic Solanke averages a goal every 4.39. Right. Okay. So when people are going to me, no one's going to tell me he's better. What are we doing here? Like, what is it with our fans and not wanting the truth about players that don't play for Tottenham? Right. Ollie Watkins in the last 4 Premier League seasons has got 15, 19, 16, 16. Right. Dominic Solanke in his last 4 Premier League seasons has 6, 19, 9, and 3. Like, what? How much more do we have to watch of these players until our fans are going to realise they are not?
I would argue to say anyone who defends our attackers is not a Spurs fan. Like, genuinely, you don't want the best for the club. You don't want this club to be good. You don't want us to be a good team. That's where I'm at with it. How many more years? How much more data do we need before we say, do you know what? They're just not good, are they? How many more seasons do we have to go through this?
This is what I don't. Still, you and I will sit here and say it now. Let's assume nothing changes at Spurs. We'll be sitting here next summer, and there'll still be people going, "No, I actually think that if we give Richarlison his 7th season in a row, he might come." Like, I don't know.
Richarlison's the new Ben Davies. Richarlison's going to be the new Ben Davies. I'm telling you. I tell you what. If you're a centre half, who do you want to play against? Ollie Watkins, who runs the entire game and gets in the channels and behind that, or Dominic Solanke? Like, this is
Ollie Watkins all day long.
Watkins is a good player. Mate, do you know what
he is.
I'm going to call him Ben Charlison.
Can we judge Solanke in a good team? I'm sorry. Let me bring up Dominic Solanke's career. This is what cracks me up. Right?
Go on.
This is. I said I'm finishing for 42 minutes.
Can I? Savva, Savva, can we ask the question? Why has no manager ever wanted Solanke in a good team?
But
Yeah.
you look at this career, right? Look at this career. So look, what this is the championship, by the way. The 29
Yeah,
goals.
yeah, that's his only good season.
This was a good year. This was a good year. But if I'm not wrong, he's 20. He's 28. He's 29 next month, right? He's 29 next month. He's been a pro footballer since 2014. And we've still
years.
got fans out here like Dornell Glester going, yeah, but if you put him in a good team, oh, for fuck's sake. Couldn't we say that of Lyndon Dykes, who plays for Charlton? Yeah, but if you put him in Man City, what are we doing?
It's like when
He's
people
awful.
have said to me, we should get, a couple of people have mentioned, should we get Delap instead, like over Richie? And that I'm like, what's the point? You might as well just stick with Richie and bloody Solanke.
The thing is,
Honestly,
if the argument is Solanke's been in an unstable Spurs team, then what about the other 9 years of his career?
Yeah,
What's the excuse
exactly.
for that? What we saying?
Yeah.
What Liverpool, Chelsea, one good year at Bournemouth. What
Okay.
happened in all those years?
Or
Played at Chelsea and Liverpool.
Mm.
Did what there?
Or on more of a
Nothing.
devil's advocate here, yeah. If the manager's that good, shouldn't he be able to get out of Solanke what they did at Bournemouth?
Not if it's a purple patch.
I mean, yeah, for me, I was speaking to a Bournemouth fan last year. It was on a panel show together.
Not that I think he's good in any means
And
or
he
manner, and that another manager
no,
could do it. But
He said, if you actually look at that season with Solanke, he had a really good start to the season, a really good end to the season, but there was a massive patch in the middle where it was like, he's just not doing anything. And for a big guy, he's not very good in the air. I think he scored something like 4 Premier League goals in his career with his head. Do you know what I mean?
He's awful.
And this is the worrying thing. Richie has better stats than Solanke. That's the worry, that we bought Richie and then thought, how are we going to upgrade? We're going to go to Solanke.
And he's been worse. Yeah.
I just can't deal with it. We don't. I've said this before. I get in trouble, right, guys? I get in trouble for saying it. I genuinely think that our fans have not seen good players for so many years now that we are genuinely dropping our standards on what we think a good footballer is.
So
Not all, I just mean
question.
sweeping generalization, but I just feel like, you know, when I hear things like, look at all the love for Tell, and people going, oh, you can't lose Bergvall, and oh, I can't believe if we sell Papasar. Like, what are we doing?
Can I ask you a question, boys? I want to ask, right? If we have to start the season with one of Solanke and Richarlison, who are you actually picking as the striker to start?
Richie. And
I'm actually going Richie as well.
To say, it's so embarrassing.
I'm actually going Richie as well. That's how sad it is.
Our strikers are so bad that it had fans wanting to keep Lancashire.
Yeah.
Who's joining Middlesbrough for a reason. That's where we're at. We've got people clambering for Troy Parrott to come back. Like,
oh, don't.
Bournemouth sold their top striker, and the 2 years that they sold him, we dropped and they got better. They improved without their top striker, and we regressed with their top striker. And we're sitting here saying Solanke over Watkins. We've lost the fucking plot. We've lost the plot. Completely heads gone here. No top club wants Solanke. Chelsea don't want him. Liverpool don't want him. City, Arsenal, all the teams that we need to beat for that, you know, in that top bracket that are going to be in the FA Cup finals, the Carabao Cup finals, the League.
Palace and Forest wouldn't want him.
None of them want him. But we sit here going, nah. I'll take him over Ollie Watkins.
in their peak, who would you have rather had, Chris Wood or Dominic Solanke?
Chris Wood.
Chris Wood.
Ain't that worrying? Isn't that worrying?
Chris
and in
Wood.
no way, shape, or form am I advocating that we should buy a Chris Wood before anyone says it. But this is the point, right, guys? That I'm looking at our strikers and going, I don't know what clubs they walk into in the Premier League. Like, Bournemouth did not miss Dominic Solanke in any way, shape, or form, did they?
No.
I think they were laughing when they got 65 million for him.
They got better without him. They recorded their highest ever league finish and got into Europe. They finished 6th last year.
That's why with selling them, I think we just have to accept, like with other players, that if you want to get rid of them, you are going to have to take a substantial kick in the bollocks, basically, to get rid of them. Because if anyone goes out there and is willing to pay 50 million, which is the average price for an average player for someone like Solanke or Richarlison, you'd definitely say he got on it too much the night before or something. Like, mate, just say no next time. Drugs are bad. And with two players like that, it's hard to even give them away as such to an extent. If someone offers 10 mil for Richarlison, you take him. Go on, I'll pay you petrol, and he can go.
That's a question, right? What teams?
Someone offers 15 mil for him, whatever, and that you're going to have to take it because where are you really going to get better for that? And
what teams in the Premier League are going to take Solanke and Richarlison right now? Like, seriously, what teams?
Possibly Coventry.
It's a point, yeah. They might do all right at Coventry.
You know, and who else was it?
I'd argue. Here you go. I'm going to argue. I don't think he's better than Haji Wright, who plays up front for Coventry.
Okay. I haven't seen
maybe right.
That don't surprise me.
Solanke is as average as they come at everything. I hear he's got brilliant link up and hold up play. Does he? Like, I'm not sure what he's good at. Look, I think at the end of the day, by the way, Dornell, this is not me wanting to keep Richie. I think it's embarrassing that as fans, we are now in the era of discussing Solanke versus Richarlison.
Yeah.
In the immediate aftermath to Harry Kane. In the immediate aftermath, it's Kane, Richie v Solanke. I think it's absolutely tragic. Tragic.
It is. It's like what one do you sort of like prefer at the end of the night, the pig or the dog, basically. Like, do you know, stuff it. Let's play with a false 9. You know, it is that bad. I think Richarlison can offer you more in a game in the aspect of just by the way he has got more of a will give it 110%, and that's the only reason I would say I'd play him over Solanke. Apart from that, game over.
He can produce a moment.
Embarrassing note. I am going to wrap up the show on the note of Richarlison versus Solanke being the debate. Anyway, guys, much love. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Danny. Thanks, Stel.
Great show.
Someone else come on at any point?
No. It's us.
Just okay. Much love. Please subscribe to everybody. Follow their channels. Much love. And surely this week we bid for a strike. Surely.
I think we signed one player this week, sir. One player.
Surely. We've got to. Take care. Much love, guys. And as always, come on, you Spurs.